Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. The end of the world. Mythical recovers, and the start is fierce and strange. Chapter 41. What a difference, Lu Meng thought angrily. Chen Mo glanced at him and said, "No need. Are you lions also collecting crystal nuclei?" Crystal core. What? Lu Meng said with some confusion. Chen Mo took out a crystal core. This is it. Lu Meng suddenly realized and said, "You mean these little stones?" This was accidentally discovered by a survivor who was studying medicine during an autopsy. I heard from Brother Zhang that these small stones seem to be useful for people with supernatural powers. If we don't say too many lions, there are probably 2,000 or 3,000 of them. If I hadn't known it too late, there would have been more. Thousands. Chen Mo's eyes lit up. After a while, the major survivor forces and military regions will know the importance of these crystal nuclei. This will be the hard currency used to exchange materials in the last days. In terms of the speed of collecting crystal nuclei, it is naturally impossible for one person to be as efficient as hundreds or thousands of people. I don't know if they are all inferior crystal cores. When the time comes to see Luo Tianshang, just ask him for some more. Chen Mo thought so. I killed Lin Shu in this life and did not deal with the military region. Judging from Luo Tianshang's ambition, such a peak start to the apocalypse would inevitably make it impossible for him to surrender to the military region and establish himself as king. Perhaps, I will have many interactions with this lion in the future. At this time, Lu Meng, who was beside him, noticed the mark left by their lion on the ground. This is the suburb of Tianquan city and is sparsely populated. The surrounding collapsed buildings and abandoned vehicles had obviously been dealt with individually. Lu Meng's face lit up and he said, "Brother, we're just ahead. It's very safe around here. They are all members of my lion." The villa area in Tianquan city. Although most of the villas have collapsed into ruins, on this wasteland, there are still 1 or 2 single-family villas that look relatively intact and are only filled with cracks. All around were heavily armed lion members, each with a firearm. When they saw Lu Meng and the others arriving, many members on patrol said respectfully, Brother Meng, it seems that Lu Meng has a very high status even among the lions." Qiongqi looked around curiously in Chen Mo's arms. Surprised. "What a big house, brother." She had never seen such a big house except on TV. Lu Meng laughed and said, "This is the wealthy area of Tianquan. In the past, it was a place that brothers would never dare to think about. But it's the end of the world now. We, the lions, have cleaned up this place and made it available for the survivors and our own people. There is no safer place in Tianquan city than here." Perhaps it was the reason why Chen Mo said before that he had not joined any organization. Along the way, Lu Meng was particularly enthusiastic and kept introducing Chen Mo how good the lion was. Chen Mo looked around and said, "Is Luo Tianshang here? Isn't he always in Anhe district?" Lu Meng was shocked when he heard this. Not many people know this place. He smiled and said, "To tell you the truth, that place has long been cleared out and used as backup storage supplies. Boss Luo also moved to a place near here. It's safe." Chen Mo's eyes flashed after hearing this. Unexpectedly, Luo Tianshang actually moved here. This place is still 10 kilometers away from the basement on Anhe Road. It can be considered an unexpected surprise. Lu Meng, brother, were you hungry along the way? I'll take you to have a rest first and send someone to prepare some food. Then I'll go find Boss Luo. What do you think?" Chen Mo looked at Qiongqi in his arms. Thinking that the little girl is still growing, it will not be easy to get here. He nodded. "Okay, please." Lu Meng looked overjoyed and laughed. "Ha ha ha, no trouble, no trouble. Gulu." At this time, the stomachs of several newcomers behind him who were timid along the way also growled. Said sarcastically, "Brother Lu, I'm hungry." Lu Meng's expression suddenly changed. He was completely different from his previous enthusiasm for Chen Mo, and he glared at them and shouted at them. "Roll, no matter what you do, eating comes first. It doesn't matter if you eat too much, it's useless. I asked Lao Yu to take you to special training. Don't think that just because you are a student you will receive preferential treatment. I, the lion, don't want to raise idle people, and I don't dare to fight zombies, so I will be responsible for transporting sundries and supplies." If they hadn't met Chen Mo, they might have been killed by zombies long ago. Although the people of the lion are fully equipped and have no shortage of supplies, people also die every day. Lu Meng looked at an old member of the lions and said, Lao Yu, take them there. Just do the rest. Yes. Chen Mo looked at this scene. Although the lion is not as orderly as the military area, it seems to be under Luo Tianxiang's arrangements. It's quite stylish and remarkable. Lu Meng turned around with a smile and took Chen Mo directly to a villa. Ordinary survivors live in tents set up in underground garages. The senior and experienced members are in these large houses. Qiongqi lazily found an open space outside and lay down. Chen Mo and Qiqi entered the house, which was fully equipped. There are many dim blood stains and bullet holes on the pure white wall. There are 7 rooms here. Everyone else has probably gone out to look for survivors. There are almost no people living there. You can sleep wherever you want. I'm going to find Mr. Luo right now. Someone will bring food soon. By the way, brother, my name is Lu Meng. I still don't know what your name is. Before Chen Mo could answer, Qiqi, who was holding him by the side, shouted charmingly. Uncle, my surname is Lu, too, and my name is Lu Ziqi. Lu Meng was startled when he heard this, and then laughed. He couldn't help but squat down and said, Ha ha ha, okay, the little guy didn't expect that we are still a family. Whatever you want to eat, tell uncle, we have everything here. On the one hand, he thought this little girl was really cute, on the other hand, he wanted to use her to get close to Chen Mo. Qiqi thought for a while. Well, then he clasped his little finger and said, I want to eat sweets, potato chips, cola. Chen Mo's face darkened, he rubbed her head lovingly and said, Don't eat it, you won't grow taller if you keep eating this. Ah, Qiqi's face was pitiful and she looked at Chen Mo eagerly. Chen Mo looked at Lu Meng and said, My name is Chen Mo. Trouble. Lu Meng nodded and said, In that case, then I will. Speaking of this, Lu Meng suddenly paused. It's like I thought of something. Etc. Chen Mo. Lu Meng's eyes became more and more dilated, and an expression of disbelief gradually appeared on his face. His face was full of shock, and he stared at Chen Mo with an expression as if he had seen a ghost and lost his voice. You mean, your name is Chen Mo? Isn't this the godly man that the boss has been looking for? Lu Meng stared at Chen Mo. Brother, your name is Chen Mo? He asked repeatedly. See the happy look on his face. Chen Mo frowned and said, What's wrong? Lu Meng was so excited that his whole body trembled and his eyes shone. No, 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 Brother Mo, no, Brother Chen. You always have a good rest here. I'll ask Boss Luo to come over now. I will send someone over in a moment. If you need anything else, just ask him to do it. Lu Meng was so excited that he ran out quickly. A meritorious service. Great achievement. Such a god who can kill more than 30 zombies in an instant is definitely the person Boss Luo is looking for. The Lions send a lot of their members out these days. On one side is the search for survivors. And the most important thing is, found a young man named Chen Mo. Lu Meng couldn't help laughing, his eyes suddenly brightened. Unexpectedly, Lu Meng, was the first to find him. He came outside the villa, stopped a patrolling survivor, and gave instructions. Go, prepare a big meal for me and send it in. Didn't some chefs come among the survivors a few days ago? Serve this lord well, At this moment, in the underground garage, Luo Tianxiang looked at the person in front of him and said calmly. You said you know Chen Mo. There are many survivors in the underground garage. These survivors were all brought back by Lion members from outside. When they saw Luo Tianxiang, everyone looked in awe. After all, even the strong men who came back were armed with guns. They all bowed before Luo Tianxiang. At this moment, Luo Tianxiang was followed by 5 or 6 tall and strong men. The equipment on them is more sophisticated than others. Luo Tianxiang looked at the timid and ragged young woman in front of him and said calmly. Say, Wang Luyao was shocked. She had never seen such a scene before. She survived the early days of the apocalypse, accompanied by a group of survivors, until suddenly the voice left by the big man in Wodima supermarket came from behind. With the mentality of giving it a try, I actually got in touch with the other party. Then, they, a group of survivors, were helped by the lion. Came here. Wang Luyao felt extremely anxious. She didn't know if the tall and mighty middle-aged man in a black coat and beard in front of her was Chen Mo's enemy. At this time, a male lion member next to her said coquettishly, "Boss Luo, it's absolutely true. This woman is said to be Chen Mo's ex-girlfriend." "What did you say?" Luo Tianxiang's eyes suddenly lit up when he heard this. He directly told Chen Mo's description. He asked, staring at Wang Luyao, "Is it like this?" Wang Luyao nodded with some fear. Luo Tianxiang said excitedly, "Don't be afraid. We won't hurt you. You said you were Brother Chen's ex-girlfriend, so can you still contact Brother Chen now?" Wang Luyao paused, then shook her head. Luo Tianxiang. Then where was he last seen? Wang Luyao bit her lips and said slowly, "On the 22nd, I saw him once in Wadama. Then, you lion men came." Luo Tianxiang's eyes flickered. He thought for a while and then laughed loudly. "You don't have eyes, don't you see that this person in front of you is Brother Chen's friend? You actually let this girl come to this place. I haven't invited anyone up yet." Look at the Buddha's face without looking at the monk's face. Since he knew the man of God, there was no room for delay. Even if it's that Godman's ex-girlfriend. God knows if there is any old love between the two. Wang Luyao was a little surprised when she heard this. Been here for several days. Although some food is delivered every day. But the survivors in this underground garage are of little value to the lions. What the lions are interested in has already drawn them into the organization. She knew it must be because of her relationship with Chen Mo. Only the boss of the lion in front of him would be so polite to him. But in her memory, Chen Mo has always been an ordinary person with no background. Wang Luyao said a little puzzled. "Do you and Chen Mo know each other?" Luo Tianxiang laughed loudly. "Don't dare. Brother Chen is a man of God, I just met him by chance." At this moment, Lu Meng, who was extremely anxious, came running from a distance. "Boss." When he heard this voice, Luo Tianxiang turned around. Looking at the panting and eager Lu Meng, he couldn't help but frown. "Why are you so anxious? Didn't I tell you not to be so careless in doing things?" Lu Meng gasped for breath. He looked for Luo Tianxiang for a long time and found that Boss Luo was not in the house. After asking several people outside, I found out that Luo Tianxiang was in the underground garage. "Oh boss, the person you want has been found." Luo Tianxiang. "Survivor." Lu Meng. "No, it's Chen Mo." "What did you say?" Luo Tianxiang's eyes shone brightly. He said with a shocked face. Several old members of the lions beside him were also shocked. Wang Luyao was even more shocked when she heard this name. Zhang Dong immediately spoke. "Lu Meng, this is no joke, are you serious?" Lu Meng said seriously. "Absolutely true. I found this when I took the newbies out to train them." "Where?" Luo Tianxiang shouted immediately. "Lu Meng, we are in the third villa now." Luo Tianxiang's face was extremely excited when he heard this. "I never thought that one day I would be able to see this man of God again. If it weren't for Chen Mo, it would be impossible for the members of the lions to live so well in this apocalyptic world. Hurry, take me there." Luo Tianxiang said happily. Suddenly, something seemed to come to mind. He looked at the dull-looking Wang Luyao next to him and said, "You come too." The crowd left in a hurry. At this moment, inside the villa, Chen Mo looked at the dazzling array of hot food and couldn't help but fell silent for a moment. This lion, in the apocalypse, can actually cook something like cooking. Chi-Chi on the side devoured the food. He said with bright eyes, "Tasty. Brother, you should eat quickly too." A young man next to him said with a smile, "This is all done by Lao Li. Before the end of the world, he was a 5-star chef." "Brother, what is your relationship with Brother Lu?" "Only members of the Lion can eat these things," the young man said with great greed. Suddenly there were several shocked sounds outside the house. "What the hell? Where did this tiger come from? It's so scary." The door outside the house was kicked open with a pop. Immediately afterwards, several angry curses uttering Chinese quintessences were heard. "Bad luck. I almost died there today. Lao Wu is dead. It's hard to explain to Brother Zhang Dong when we go back." Who knew that in addition to zombies, a big hand would suddenly stretch out from the ground in that place? No one expected this. "Tell Brother Zhang Dong when we get back and see what he does." It smells so good. What does it smell like? Someone suddenly smelled the aroma of food. A group of murderous men with bloodstains on their bodies came in carrying guns. After seeing Chen Mo and Qiongqi at the table, one of them frowned. He spoke with some displeasure. Where are you survivors? Did you know that this is a place where only old members of the Lions can stay? The young man on the side saw the visitor and said with a smile on his face. Haha, Brother Cao, this is the person brought by Brother Lu Meng. Lu Meng, Cao Fengyuan frowned. That guy Lu Meng is good. He is comfortable taking the newcomers out alone. We were the only ones in danger in the city center. You still have the nerve to bring a few outsiders in now. I don't care who you are, I'm in a bad mood right now, so get out of here. Chen Mo looked calm and looked up at them. Qiongqi whispered with some fear. Brother, they don't seem to welcome us. Chen Mo smiled at her, ignored the group of people, and said softly. Qiongqi, are you full? Qiongqi nodded obediently. She said softly. You're full, brother. Then let's go. Chen Mo picked her up and walked outside the house. Lu Meng has been gone for so long and still hasn't come back. Chen Mo planned to take Qiongqi directly to Luo Tianshang. Seeing Chen Mo's understanding, the group of men all sneered disdainfully. Cao Fengyuan also sneered, found a seat and sat down, picked up a piece of vegetable and started to devour it. During this trip, 4 or 5 brothers died. He was in a very unhappy mood and said in a strange manner. Not bad. Did the new chef cook it? Our lion's resources are limited. If everyone is like that guy Lu Meng, it will be chaos then. These things can only be enjoyed by us old members of the lions. Ha ha ha. Brother Cao is right. A group of people sat down one after another and began to wolf down the food. When the young man saw this, it was not easy to stop him. After all, these few in front of me are all old members and have very high status. Outside the house, Chen Mo held Qiongqi and came to Qiongqi's side. The young man also followed out. Dude, I'm really sorry. Those are all old members at the same level as Brother Meng. Even if Brother Meng comes, there is nothing we can do. Chen Mo nodded and didn't care. Fine, where does Luo Tianshang live? The young man was startled. Are you looking for Boss Luo? Boss Luo is not something ordinary people can see. Here, have you seen that single-family house? There are many people guarding it. Boss Luo lives there. Chen Mo looked in the direction pointed by the young man. Not very far. He nodded and thanked him, patted Qiongqi who was lying on the ground, and said. Let's go, Qiongqi. On the other side, Luo Tianshang and others, who came in a hurry from the underground garage, came towards this place with great momentum. Zhang Dong said with confusion. Boss, I heard that woman say that Chen Mo is just an ordinary person, isn't he? What's so noteworthy about it? Luo Tianshang glared at him and said angrily. Shut up. He turned around and looked at the people beside him. When you see Brother Chen later, show some respect to me. Whoever dares to make Brother Chen unhappy, I will kill him on the spot. Did you all hear that? I heard it. Several people around him shouted loudly. Luo Tianshang quickly walked forward. He secretly recalled the time he saw Chen Mo before the end of the world. Even the bullets can be controlled and even penetrate the walls made of alloy. By now, he also vaguely knew something. Stranger. You know, at that time. This is not the end of the world. That God-man has superpowers, how terrifying he must be now. Think of him, Luo Tianshang, who has hundreds of people in charge. Before the end of the world, he was also a figure licking blood on the tip of a knife. At this moment, I felt a little uneasy. Wang Luyao, who was at the back, was even more shocked after seeing this scene. Chen Mo, what secrets are there about you? It's something I don't know. In her mind, this ex-boyfriend was dumped by her. It seems to be becoming more and more mysterious. At this time, it seemed that something had been discovered. Lu Meng, who was at the front, narrowed his pupils, stopped and said. That is, Chen Mo, what? All the members of the Lions present looked over with great curiosity. They all want to see what it is like to be so praised and regarded as a god by Boss Luo. Luo Tianshang was even more shocked when he saw Chen Mo not far away. This familiar face, such a unique temperament. It's him. Luo Tianshang was overjoyed and ran over quickly. Chen Mo in the distance naturally noticed Luo Tianshang and his party. Brother Chen, Luo Tianxiong came with a loud laugh. After hearing this title, several old members of the lion beside him widened their eyes in disbelief. Did I hear that correctly? Boss Luo, call this young man Brother Chen. Chen Mo also glanced at Luo Tianxiong in surprise. I didn't expect to encounter it here. Luo Tianxiong was extremely enthusiastic, and he immediately stepped forward and offered his hand. Brother Chen, it's been so long. I knew that with your ability, you must still be alive. I heard Lu Meng said you were looking for me, didn't you wait long? After not seeing each other for a month, Luo Tianxiong's aura now looks even more majestic. And he seemed to have awakened his powers. Chen Mo noticed the dark lines of awakening on Luo Tianxiong's hand. Wang Luyao, who was in the crowd behind her, was even more surprised when she saw Chen Mo. It's really him. Lu Meng, come here. Luo Tianxiong said angrily. What did I say? If you see Brother Chen, be sure to give me a good reception. But you are kind, why don't you arrange a place for Brother Chen to rest? Lu Meng also had a confused face and said in confusion. Brother Chen, aren't you in the villa? Why did you come out? Chi said softly in Chen Mo's arms. A group of people came and they kicked my brother and I out. Luo Tianxiong was stunned when he heard this, and then said angrily. This is really unreasonable. I want to see who dares to drive Brother Chen out. I had clearly warned him over and over again. If you meet Chen Mo, you must treat him like a distinguished guest. Whether it's food, supplies, or beautiful women, whatever the other person wants is what he wants. There are still people who don't take their own words seriously. Luo Tianxiong's eyes were burning with anger. He calmed down his mood, looked at the little girl in Chen Mo's arms and said harmoniously. Brother Chen, who is this? Chen Mo, the daughter of an old friend. You don't need to call me Brother Chen, just call me Chen Mo. This Luo Tianxiong is quite old, which sounds weird. Luo Tianxiong laughed loudly. Then I will take the liberty of calling you Brother Chen. Chen Mo nodded. Luo Tianxiong still has many things he wants to ask Chen Mo. But not before that. He wanted to see what kind of thing it was without eyes. How dare you drive this man of God away? If Chen Mo really left like this, Luo Tianxiong swore that he would beat that man's head to pieces. To be able to become the leader of the lions, he is not a soft-hearted person. Coupled with the recent awakening of supernatural powers, the strength has become even stronger. Brother Chen, let's go and have a look. Among this lion, I, Luo Tianxiong, have the final say. Luo Tianxiong laughed boldly. Zhang Dong on the side also had a smile on his face. It was Luo Tianxiong who asked him to be responsible for purchasing materials before, so he knew more or less about this matter. But Zhang Dong didn't dare to call Chen Mo brother like Boss Luo, so he said it very politely. Brother Chen, you don't know that our boss has always regarded you as a god. But we have been reminded more than once to find you. Chen Mo said in surprise when he heard this. Find me. Luo Tianxiong stepped forward and hugged Chen Mo's shoulders generously. Loudly. Brother Chen, you are our great benefactor to the lions. We'll talk about this later. Let's go and see first what kind of blind thing dares to offend you, Brother Chen. By the way, Brother Chen, look who I brought you here. Luo Tianxiong grinned. Look behind you at Wang Luyao who is restrained. He spoke. We are all acquaintances. How can I let Brother Chen see you after standing like this? Chen Mo looked over. When he saw Wang Luyao, he frowned. Wang Luyao's expression was extremely complicated. She never thought that she would meet Chen Mo in this place. Chen Mo. Luo Tianxiong very wisely led a group of brothers to the front. Qiongqi, who was in Chen Mo's arms, also looked at Wang Luyao in front of her with great curiosity. He looked up at his brother again. Long time no see. Wang Luyao lowered her head. After seeing Chen Mo again, I felt inexplicably inferior. Now that it's the end of the world, after staying with the lion for a few days, she clearly knows how powerful the lion is as a survivor. It can be said that before the military region came, this was the largest survivor alliance in Tianquan City. And the boss of this lion was so groveling in front of Chen Mo. Wang Luyao didn't know what happened to Chen Mo. I just feel that I and him seem to have become people in two different worlds. I never imagined that we would meet in this way. Chen Mo looked calm and said calmly. Take care of yourself. He didn't even want to say another word to Wang Luyao. Because it makes no sense at all. After saying this, Chen Mo turned around and left. Looking at Chen Mo's leaving figure, Wang Luyao's delicate body trembled, but she just stood there without moving. No one cares about her anymore. Luo Tianshang saw Chen Mo walking from the side. She almost said, "Brother Chen, how are you? Don't worry, we will definitely arrange the best place for your little girlfriend to live in, and we won't leave out any food or drink." Chen Mo said calmly, "I have nothing to do with her. You don't have to be treated special because of me. Although I no longer care." But he would not be so kind as to let Wang Luo receive preferential treatment with the help of his name. Oh, Luo Tianshang narrowed his eyes slightly when he heard this. He thought about it secretly. It seems that this woman may have done something bad. Luo Tianshang laughed loudly. "Understood, Brother Chen, since you said that, it's hard for me, the lion, to treat you differently. Then let her go back to the underground garage." Luo Tianshang was a decisive and ruthless person. He looked at the person beside him and said calmly, "For worthless survivors, let them stay in the underground garage. Responsible for transporting supplies, which is the only role." At this moment, in the third villa, Cao Fengyuan and the others were resting on stools after eating and drinking. "Brother Cao, you said so many people died this time, will Brother Zhang Dong scold us?" "Yeah, that hand is so scary, it just popped out of the ground like that. No wonder everyone doesn't want to go to that area downtown." Cao Fengyuan picked up a toothpick and picked his teeth, and said with a fierce expression, "This is important news. Boss Luo has always wanted to expand his territory to the downtown area. But there are too many zombies there. It's impossible to clean them all. Now that ghost thing has popped up again. If he wants to occupy that precious land in the city center, let Brother Zhang Dong send some people down, and we have to destroy it together. Avenge the fifth and fifth brothers. Yes, revenge." Several other old members around shouted angrily. And just then, bang, the door outside was kicked open hard. "Who are you avenging?" A deep voice sounded from outside the house. This sound, several people present were shocked and quickly climbed up from their stools when they heard the sound. Outside the house, Luo Tianshang led a group of people into the house. "Boss." Cao Fengyuan and others were startled and hurried forward. "Lu Meng, are you there too? And you kid?" Cao Fengyuan frowned. Luo Tianshang was immediately furious and scolded with his piercing eyes. "You blind trash, who asked you guys to chase Brother Chen away? Have I ever told you that if you meet Brother Chen, you have to show me some respect?" Cao Fengyuan and others have never seen the boss look so angry. Are you the Chen Mo that the boss is looking for?" Cao Fengyuan's pupils shrank suddenly, and he thought to himself that it was not good. "Broken." Lu Meng smiled triumphantly from the side. Cao Fengyuan, I finally invited Brother Chen, is this how you treat me? You still want to drive Brother Chen out, who gave you the courage?" As soon as these words came out, several people around Cao Fengyuan looked pale and said one after another, "Boss, misunderstanding. We really don't know that this person in front of us is the person you were looking for." "Yes, boss, if we knew, we wouldn't dare." Luo Tianshang glanced at the leftovers behind them, his brows stood up and he said with a shiver, "Lu Meng told me that this was the food he prepared for Brother Chen, but you guys all ate it. You're all wasted." Luo Tianshang had awakened his superpower, so this kick could not be described as cruel. But Luo Tianshang's majesty among the lions is extremely high, which means that he is one and the same. Cao Fengyuan and others looked pale and did not dare to speak or resist at all. Chen Mo watched this scene coldly. He knew that Luo Tianshang wanted to please him. Luo Tianshang shouted angrily, "You guys, all kneel down in front of me and come here to apologize to Brother Chen. It is impossible for any old member of the Lions not to know the importance of Chen Mo, that Boss Luo is looking for to the boss." After hearing this, several people immediately knelt down with a pop sound. When he came to Chen Mo, he lowered his head and said loudly, "Brother Chen, we were wrong. These people. But they are all old members of the Lions with very early qualifications." Even before the end of the world, he was following Luo Tianshang. Unexpectedly, under the public gaze, Boss Luo did not give any face to his own people. Zhang Dong, the second in command of the lions, took a deep look at Chen Mo beside him. I couldn't help but wonder even more, what is so special about this person? Chen Mo's weight in everyone's hearts couldn't help but increase. In the field, several brothers were subdued. Only Cao Fengyuan still stood there indifferently. Zhang Dong. Cao Fengyuan, what are you still doing standing there? Didn't you hear what the boss said? Luo Tianshang's face darkened instantly when he saw this. Said coldly, Cao Fengyuan, what do you mean? Cao Fengyuan stared closely at Chen Mo, who looked calm and young. Loudly, Boss Luo, I don't accept it. The people around were in an uproar. No one thought that Cao Fengyuan would dare to openly disobey Boss Luo's order. I'll kill you. Luo Tianshang came to Cao Fengyuan in an instant. At some point he pulled out a gun and put it to his head. He said with an angry expression, I want you to apologize to Brother Chen. Do you want to die? Cao Fengyuan closed his eyes tightly and said loudly, Boss, then kill me. Brothers are working hard outside, why should we let an outsider enjoy our achievements? The 5 and 6 are all dead. What? Zhang Dong's pupils shrank suddenly and he looked at the people present. He stepped forward and shouted, Cao Fengyuan, what do you mean? Qiongqi and the others are all dead. Luo Tianshang also stared at Cao Fengyuan with fierce eyes full of murderous intent and said, what happened? With the lions' current armed strength, even if they go to the city center, as long as they don't go deep, there shouldn't be any danger, not to mention that Cao Fengyuan and others are a group of thugs who lick blood at the tip of their knives. Cao Fengyuan opened his eyes and said with a little red eyes, Boss, Lao Lu and I are going to the city center. Somehow, a big hand like a baby suddenly emerged from the ground, 6 or 7 meters high, and then the whole earth shook. There are only 9 people in our team, and 5 of them died there. Luo Tianshang stared angrily and became even angrier. Do you want to listen to what you're saying? At this time, Chen Mo, who had been watching with cold eyes, frowned. Arrive at Cao Fengyuan's front road. You mean, you saw that hand? Luo Tianshang was stunned for a moment, then said, Brother Chen, do you know something? Chen Mo nodded, looked at Cao Fengyuan and asked, what happened at that time, do you still remember? Cao Fengyuan was startled, and Luo Tianshang slowly put down the gun and roared angrily. Since it's Brother Chen who's asking you, honestly, what happened? Cao Fengyuan nodded, took a deep breath and said, we can't remember exactly. I only know that at that time, the ground under my feet suddenly trembled, and then a long gap appeared. From the crack, 2 huge arms stretched out directly. They slapped the 5 and 6 children to death and then threw them to the ground. Just like, it feels like something big is about to crawl out. While walking, I heard a sound like a baby crying. Chen Mo's eyes flashed when he heard this. Why so fast? It's only the first month of the end of the world. Logically speaking, even if the gods appear, they are still sleeping. There shouldn't be any action taken so early. When the gods really start to take action, it will at least have to wait until the Nian Beast's raid has passed. Cao Fengyuan's description was exactly the same as the state of Qiongqi god when he woke up. The god of Qiongqi is about to crawl out from under the ground in Tianquan city. Luo Tianshang also thought secretly with his brows furrowed. A 6 or 7 meter baby arm. From underground. Is it possible that there are more than just zombies in this apocalypse? Is there anything else we don't know about? Chen Mo said slowly. And God. From Tianquan city. The god of longevity and joy. God. As soon as this statement came out, the whole hall was in an uproar. Everyone present felt a chill running down their spines. They all looked at each other, and they all saw extremely shocked expressions on each other's faces. How can this be? Even if it was Luo Tianshang, his eyes were a little horrified. Lu Meng said with goosebumps all over his body. Brother Chen, this can't stand a joke. What Chen Mo said was tantamount to a pound of depth bomb. Everyone felt shrouded in a haze at this moment. God, just this word is enough to explain its power. Now, the lion is thriving in the apocalypse. You actually told me that in this apocalypse, the most powerful ones are not zombies. But God, Cao Fengyuan, impossible. God, this is simply impossible. Chen Mo glanced at him lightly. Then he said towards Luo Tianshang, lend me your gun. As a lion, the old great principal Tianshang seemed much calmer. He nodded and handed over the pistol. Chen Mo took the gun and pulled the safety. Click. Then he targeted Cao Fengyuan. Everyone's heart skipped a beat, and Cao Fengyuan was even more shocked. What are you up to? Bang. A gunshot sounded. Cao Fengyuan took a breath and closed his eyes tightly. "Own, do you died?" In his ears, there was a sudden uproar. Hiss. How can this be? Stranger. Cao Fengyuan was stunned for a moment, then slowly opened his eyes. When I saw the bullet floating in the air so close to me. Cao Fengyuan's pupils trembled violently. Then, Chen Mo waved his hand gently. That pistol bullet. In an instant, it burst out with power comparable to that of a sniper rifle. Boom. A small black hole with white mist penetrated directly into the wall of the villa. This shocking scene. Cao Fengyuan was dumbfounded. Except for Luo Tianshong, who had seen this scene a long time ago, the rest of the lion members were all wide-eyed. His expression was as if he had seen a ghost. Chen Mo returned the pistol and said calmly, "You see, nothing is impossible." With this feeling of surviving a disaster, Cao Fengyuan collapsed to the ground with a pop. Breathing heavily, he looked at Chen Mo in disbelief, his expression extremely horrified. Then he came forward on his knees step by step, lowered his head and said, "It is my fault, Brother Chen. They all know about superpowers. But the lion's superpowers generally have enhanced superpowers, or some useless ordinary ones. So they always thought that people with superpowers were just people with stronger bodies. I never thought that it could have such terrifying power. Even bullets can be controlled and ignored. This is no longer something humans can do. Among lions, strength is the capital that human venerable can admire the most." At first, many people didn't understand why Boss Luo was so respectful to a young man. But the moment Chen Mo showed his strength, he undoubtedly conquered everyone. At this moment, Cao Fengyuan was completely convinced. Loudly, "Brother Chen, I was blind before, but I couldn't see Taishan. I, Cao Fengyuan, am responsible for everything I do. If you want to kill or behead me, just come at me." Chen Mo glanced at the people kneeling on the ground and couldn't help but said speechlessly, "Okay, why do you feel like you want to die? These guys did nothing more than drive themselves and Qiongqi out of the villa. Not to mention that this is not my place, and besides, I have finished my meal." Luo Tianshong saw this and snorted coldly. "You still haven't thanked me, Brother Chen. I really want to kill you today." If it weren't for the fact that Cao Feng was an old member of the lions, he would have chilled the hearts of the brothers. He, Luo Tianshong, would never be merciful. Luo Tianshong looked at Chen Mo with some gratitude. "Brother Chen, I'm really sorry. I'll send someone to bring some more food." Chen Mo raised his hand to stop. "No need, I won't stay here long." "What?" Luo Tianshong was shocked and said quickly. "Brother Chen, what do you mean?" Chen Mo glanced at the people around him, and Luo Tianshong quickly understood and spoke. "You guys, all go down. I have something to talk to Brother Chen alone." Chen Mo also looked at Qiongqi, put her down and rubbed her head. Said softly, "Qiongqi, you also go out with that Uncle Lu." Qiongqi said with some reluctance on her face. "Ah, brother, why?" "Chen Mo, be obedient." Qiongqi nodded, and Lu Meng came closer, trying his best to smile as kindly as possible. He said with a smile, "He, Qiongqi, can Uncle take you to play? We have a lot of toys here." Sure enough, it is natural for children to love to play. When Lu Meng said this, Qiqi's eyes immediately lit up. "Close the door," Luo Tianshong specially asked before the group left. Bang. The door was closed. Cao Fengyuan still looked at Zhang Dong beside him with some lingering fear. Whispered, "Brother Dong, what is Brother Chen's background? How can there be a person with superpowers who is not even afraid of bullets?" Zhang Dong glanced at him angrily and said, "You still have the nerve to say it. If Mr. Chen didn't remember the faults of villains, you would have been killed by the boss. How can someone who can be valued by the boss be immortal?" But having said that, the scene just now shocked Zhang Dong. That young man, no, is the god Brother Chen said true. There are no gods in Tianquan City, right? Someone beside him said sarcastically. Zhang Dong snorted coldly. What are you afraid of? With boss and Brother Chen here, even if they are gods, I, the lion, will not be afraid. At this moment, inside the villa, Luo Tianxiang and Chen Mo came to a sofa. Luo Tianxiang took out a pack of cigarettes from his pocket and lit it with a click. Take a long breath of enjoyment. You know, in the last days, even a piece of bread is extremely precious. The material needs for survival cannot be satisfied, let alone spiritual satisfaction. Only the old great principal Tianxiang of the lions can afford to smoke cigarettes and relax. Luo Tianxiang subconsciously took one out. He handed it towards Chen Mo, but it quickly stopped in midair. Brother Chen, have a cigarette. Oh, by the way, ha ha ha, look at my memory, I almost forgot that you don't smoke. Luo Tianxiang laughed. Said, I wonder where Brother Chen is going. Chen Mo stared at him and said slowly. North China City. North China City. Luo Tianxiang's pupils shrank and he said immediately. Brother, this Hubei city is not a good place. I just got the news some time ago that people from the military region went to Hubei city for rescue. A regiment of troops was dispatched, but the whole army was wiped out. Chen Mo frowned when he heard this. In his own memory, there are no gods in North China City, only a few overlord-level evil beings. If even the strength of a regiment in the military region is destroyed here, there is only one possibility. That was the year before, like the god of Qiongqi, he revived in advance. Luo Tianxiang. Brother Chen, I would like to ask, are you planning to go? Go find someone, Chen Mo said calmly. Luo Tianxiang shook his head and just sighed, it's a pity. With Chen Mo's strength, if he joins the lions, the lion must be at a higher level. It seems that I, the lion, are destined to be together after all. But this doesn't stop me from making friends with him. Luo Tianxiang took a puff of his cigarette, and then said seriously. Brother Chen, you helped me once before, and I, Luo Tianxiang, am a person who must repay kindness. I will send a group of brothers to follow you. Chen Mo waved his hand. No, I can go alone. I came to the lion this time because I have something to ask you. Oh, Luo Tianxiang became interested when he heard this. Laughed loudly and said loudly. Ha ha ha, Brother Chen, it doesn't matter if you just say it. As long as I, Luo Shishi, can help, I will definitely help. Chen Mo nodded, stared into his eyes, and said in a deep voice. Luo Tianxiang, did you see the little girl I was holding before? Her name is Qiqi. Brother Chen, could it be that what you are talking about has something to do with that little girl? Luo Tianxiang was curious. Chen Mo, yeah, North China City is very dangerous. It is not convenient for me to take Qiqi with me when I go this time. Luo Tianxiang immediately understood what Chen Mo meant. He promised directly and emphatically. This is a trivial matter. Brother Chen, don't worry, just leave the little girl here with me. I, Luo Tianxiang, will definitely treat her as my own daughter. I will not let her do dangerous things or be bullied by anyone. He did not expect that this man of God came for this reason. But that's okay, it seems that the little girl has a close relationship with Chen Mo. The lion himself happened to be able to establish a line with Chen Mo through the relationship with the little girl. Luo Tianxiang's eyes were bright and he smiled. Brother Chen, don't worry. Anyone who dares to touch Qiqi will be at odds with me, Luo Tianxiang. Chen Mo nodded, his eyes twinkling when he saw this. Actually, that's not what I'm worried about. Luo Tianxiang, the god of Qiongqi that your subordinates mentioned earlier may be revived soon. Luo Tianxiang was startled, and his expression became serious. Is even Brother Chen so afraid? Brother Chen, with the power of my lion, what do you think? What are the chances of winning against the god you talk about? Chen Mo glanced at him and spoke without hesitation. 0. What? Luo Tianxiang's breath was suffocated, and his pupils were trembling. I couldn't help but feel a chill running down my spine. You know, the lions now have 200 to 300 fully equipped members. 0 chance of winning. He had no doubt that Chen Mo was lying. Such a god can predict the end of the world in advance, so why should he lie to himself? Chen Mo said quietly, don't worry, I will solve the last troubles in Tianquan City for you before leaving. At this time, as long as you, the lion, are careful with the remaining zombies and alien species, they will be able to resist their slow development. Solving the god of Qiongqi was just a matter of way. Chen Mo also wanted to take a look. Can I, with my divine power, be able to enslave the gods? If you take the god of Qiongqi under your command, your combat effectiveness will be greatly enhanced. Luo Tianxiang was overjoyed and cupped his hands. Brother Chen, thank you so much. If you need anything, you can tell me. As long as my lion has it, I will definitely give it to you with both hands. With Chen Mo's words, he felt relieved. Chen Mo thought about it. The current Qiongqi god should be in a state between rank 3 and rank 4 when he wakes up. There is Qiongqi around him. Since Qiongqi was able to tear a god into pieces before his rebirth, he must have his own unique method of restraint. After Qiongqi advances to rank 2 and his natural power reaches rank 2, it should be possible to defeat it. Chen Mo, I heard that you have collected a lot of crystal nuclei. I need some. Crystal core. Luo Tianxiang was a little confused. That's it. Chen Mo took out a rank 1 crystal core from his pocket. When he saw this object, Luo Tianxiang immediately realized what it was. Said extremely boldly, "Ha ha ha, Brother Chen, what you are talking about is the stone in the zombie's brain. My male lion has indeed collected a lot. If you need it, just take them all. Not many, just over 3,000. Just think of these as a thank you gift to Brother Chen. Brother Chen needs this, you can come and get it anytime in the future." Chen Mo's eyes lit up and he said, "Thank you, Luo Tianxiang. Brother Chen, in that case, I will take you to the warehouse to have a look." Let's go, The two of them came to a small warehouse together. Here, a large amount of the lion's supplies are also stored. Boss. Luo Tianxiang nodded and directly ordered the guard to open the warehouse. Squeak, followed by a sound. Luo Tianxiang looked at Chen Mo beside him and said with a smile, "Brother Chen, come with me." The two entered the warehouse together. What comes into view are the crystal nuclei of hills piled together like gravel. Next to it, there were boxes containing tightly sealed supplies. Chen Mo looked at the crystal nuclei in front of him. Being sorted accordingly, not only does it have a large number of inferior crystal nuclei. Surprisingly, he also has a rank 2 crystal core. Chen Mo grabbed the lavender rank 2 crystal core, which was larger than the other crystal nuclei. I have some doubts that the power of a lion can actually fight against rank 2 zombies or alien species. Luo Tianxiang brought Chen Mo to the crystal core and said softly with a sigh, "These things are all obtained from those zombies and monsters. Brother Chen, this is the one you hold in your hand. It was a dog-like monster that was about the same size as your pet that one of my male lion members accidentally discovered. More than 20 brothers died before I managed to kill him." Chen Mo looked at the rank 2 crystal core in his hand. Zombie mutants below rank 3 can eventually withstand fire damage. But if you go further up, except for some weapons with the characteristics of the corpses of gods and alien species, it is basically difficult to harm them at all. Luo Tianxiang, Brother Chen, what are these things used for? Do you need them so much? Chen Mo glanced at him and said slowly, "Persons with superpowers can use this thing to strengthen their superpowers or restore their physical strength. But you can't absorb too much, otherwise you will lose your mind, just like a zombie mutant." Luo Tianxiang nodded and said thoughtfully, "So this is No wonder I said that I was playing with a crystal core and it disappeared from my hand for no reason. But don't worry, Brother Chen, you can just fight these things without my lion. If you need it, don't be polite to me, just take it all." Chen Mo scanned the thousands of crystal nuclei on the ground and shook his head. He took away the only rank 2 crystal core and more than 40 rank 1 crystal cores and said, "These are enough." Luo Tianxiang was surprised and thought it was Chen Mo being polite to him. "Aren't you going to get more?" "Chen Mo, the inferior crystal core has little effect on me now. These are enough." Luo Tianxiang looked at the crystal cores that Chen Mo took away, and they seemed to be larger. He paid attention and said, "When does Brother Chen decide to set off?" Chen Mo's eyes flashed and he said softly, "Tomorrow morning." "So fast?" Luo Tianxiang said in surprise. Chen Mo nodded. With these crystal cores, it is enough to upgrade his natural power and Qiongqi to rank 2. After going to the city center to deal with or subdue the god of Qiongqi, you can set off for North China City. "Don't mention this to Qiqi," Chen Mo said. Luo Tianxiang nodded. "Brother Chen, I definitely understand this. It's just that you really don't want to stay in the lion for a while. Brother, I finally found you, Brother Chen. I really feel sorry for not being able to show my kindness as a landlord. Chen Mo thought for a moment and then said. Then tonight. It just so happens that I have something to tell you. What he wanted to tell Luo Tianxiong were some extremely important things in the last days. He didn't want the lion to be killed by someone or some corpse king after he found Yuer and came back with him. Luo Tianxiong's face also became serious when he heard this. Guessing that this man of God might have something important to tell him, he spoke. I'll go get someone ready right now. Brother Chen, if you need anything, just call someone and let me know. Luo Tianxiong said. Chen Mo nodded and said softly. Don't let anyone bother me. Luo Tianxiong. Understood. After Luo Tianxiong left, Chen Mo came to Qiongqi and threw out 10 rank 1 crystal cores. He said calmly, eat, this time, it's not about your brain. Ouch. Qiongqi, who was lying outside, was startled. When he saw these crystal nuclei shining with lavender light, his huge pupils were full of excitement. Unlike humans who can only practice one by absorbing crystal nuclei, there is not only an upper limit. Absorbing too much will cause abnormal changes. Alien species and zombies like Qiongqi seem to have no restrictions at all. Qiongqi opened his huge mouth and swallowed all these crystal nuclei into his belly. Click, click, there was a chilling chewing sound. Immediately afterwards, Qiongqi lay on the ground and slowly closed his eyes, breathing methodically. The orange hair on his body became even more shiny, and layers of lavender ripples were constantly washing away. Luo Tianxiong wisely evacuated all the people here 100 meters away. No one is allowed to come and disturb. You know, this is an important place for lions to store food and supplies. Luo Tianxiong was unprepared and allowed Chen Mo to ask for it, which shows his immense trust. Chen Mo took out the rank 2 crystal core. Prepare to use it to enhance the power of heaven. The power of Tianquan is so unique that it is obviously just rank 1. It seems that ordinary low-quality crystal cores cannot meet its advanced needs. Only the rank 1 crystal core can feel some improvement. I hope you won't disappoint me. Chen Mo murmured softly. Then he held the rank 2 crystal core in his left hand, closed his eyes and began to absorb the power of the crystal core. Every improvement in the ability not only strengthens the ability, it can strengthen your physique again and again. This is why, even the lowest level F-level superpower user, the status is also far higher than that of ordinary people. Until the evening, Luo Tianxiong and Zhang Dong came here. Look at the people guarding the door. Boss Luo, Brother Zhang. Zhang Dong said, where's Brother Chen? He hasn't come out yet. The gatekeepers looked at each other and said, Brother Dong, not yet. Luo Tianxiong on the side frowned. After knowing that Chen Mo was leaving tomorrow, he had someone prepare a sumptuous dinner. Moreover, they also specially sent people to hunt the crystal nuclei from the brains of many zombies nearby. If Brother Chen doesn't show up, wouldn't all his hard work be in vain? Boss, should we go in and take a look? Zhang Dong said beside him. Luo Tianxiong raised his hand, shook his head and said, wait here. Brother Chen said no one is allowed to come in and disturb us. Zhang Dong was a little in disbelief. He has followed Luo Tianxiong for the longest time, and he knows Luo Ji's temper best. There have always been others waiting for him, and there has never been a situation like Luo Ji and others. Seeing that the bosses were all so respectful, Zhang Dong simply waited patiently here. It's a bit boring to keep waiting like this. Zhang Dong said curiously. Brother Luo, what do you think this god is like? Is there really a god in this world? How is this possible? Luo Tianxiong glanced at him and snorted coldly. Nothing is impossible. Would you have thought of what is happening now before the end of the world? If I hadn't reminded you to come here, you would have died in the belly of your little girlfriend. The mistresses raised by Zhang Dong all turned into zombies as expected. What if, while working hard, the mistress suddenly turns into a zombie? Hiss. I can't even imagine that scene. Zhang Dong suddenly felt horrified and said with some embarrassment. 2. At this time, a voice suddenly came from directly in front of the two people. Awaited. Luo Tianxiong's eyes lit up when he saw the person coming. Then he said with a smile. Brother Chen, are you ready? The person coming was none other than Chen Mo. Chen Mo nodded slightly, with a rare smile on his face. He was in a good mood. The resources stored by the lion are indeed quite a lot, even in the early days of the apocalypse. These crystal nuclei are completely capable of cultivating a strong person who is not weak. Unexpectedly, Luo Tianxiang would hand it over to him so decisively after knowing the function of the crystal core. Today's Tianquan abilities have reached rank 2, and so has Qiongqi. Before, just putting Qiongqi into the Tianquan power and turning it into a tattoo made me feel a mental burden. In other words, rank 1's natural power has almost reached its limit of being able to accommodate a Qiongqi. The power of Qiongqi tattoo cannot be used for a long time. But now, even if Qiongqi turns into a tattoo state for several days, he will not be burdened. Thank you for those crystal nuclei, Chen Mo said. Seeing this, Luo Tianxiang felt happy and laughed loudly. Ha ha ha, Brother Chen, you are making a fool of yourself by saying that. I think Brother Chen's strength has improved again, congratulations. Zhang Dong also congratulated Lele. Luo Tianxiang looked around Chen Mo, as if he thought of something. He spoke with some confusion. Brother Chen, where is your pet? Chen Mo smiled lightly. Maybe he was too hungry and went out to look for food. Chen Mo didn't want too many people to know about his second power, Qiongqi. Fortunately, the awakening dark pattern can also be hidden. Luo Tianxiang couldn't help but admired after hearing this. Brother Chen, your pet is really more domineering than any lion I've ever seen before. If it wasn't allowed, I would also like to get one for fun. Let's not talk about it for now. Come on, Brother Chen, the dinner party is ready. Now, you are the only one missing. Chen Mo nodded. Let's go. Inside Villa number 1. This is where Luo Tianxiang lives. It is also the only place here that is relatively intact and extremely clean. There are no less than 7 or 8 lion members patrolling here every day. Luo Tianxiang slowly pushed the door open. The hall was extremely bright, and candles were lit all around. On a long table, there are all extremely sumptuous meals. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. It's like going back to the end of the world and enjoying delicious food in an expensive restaurant. And in the hall, Qiqi, Lu Meng, and several of Luo Tianxiang's confidants were all here. Seeing the person coming, Qiqi's eyes were bright and she jumped down from the stool. He threw himself into Chen Mo's arms. Elder brother. Chen Mo smiled and touched her head. Looking at this rich and grand scene in front of me, he couldn't help but feel the gap between the lion and the survivors he had encountered before. As long as you have the means, strength and status, you can still live an extremely comfortable life even in the last days. Even without the constraints of the law, one can live more freely than before the end of the world and do whatever one wants. Women, food, respect. Luo Tianxiang didn't lack any of them. And what he wants, it's that higher level of power and status. Luo Tianxiang laughed and patted Chen Mo's shoulder. Brother Chen, how about the dinner I prepared for you? Although there is no music or electricity, these candlelights are quite flavorful, haha. Now, Zhang Dong beside him looked at the group of people on the seats and said loudly. What are you doing there? Why don't you come over and see Brother Chen? A group of old members of the Lions, including Cao Fengyuan and Lu Meng, stepped forward. They all said loudly, Hello, Brother Chen. I've met Brother Chen. Obviously, the habits before the end of the world are still well preserved. It can be said to be full of pomp and circumstance. The cruelty of the apocalypse seems not to have affected the lion at all. It makes a lot of sense why not eat minced meat. But Chen Mo knew that as the apocalypse passed day by day, when the existence of rank 4 appeared among the zombie mutants, there will be a sea change. If the strength is not strong, the beauty in front of you is just like mirror flower water moon. It breaks when touched. Luo Tianxiang and Chen Mo sat on their seats together. He specifically gave up the first seat and sat aside. The old member of a group of lions just sat down and swallowed unconsciously while looking at the dazzling array of delicacies on the table. Even they cannot eat these things every day. Luo Tianxiang looked at Chen Mo, who had always looked calm beside him, and said with some doubts. Brother Chen, could it be that I didn't arrange it well? Or are these meals not to your liking? Chen Mo shook his head and smiled lightly. Such hospitality made me unable to react for a moment. Luo Tianxiang was stunned. Then he took a sip of wine and smiled. Haha, if Brother Chen is willing to stay with me as a lion. I promise that as long as I, Luo Tianshang, stay in the lions for a day, Brother Chen, you will be rich every day. Qiqi even picked up a piece of braised pork and puffed out her cheeks and muttered vaguely. Brother, Ni also eats it. Tasty. Chen Mo ate a few symbolic meals, and then the 5 or 6 extremely restrained lion members around him began to use their chopsticks. The rugged men in tight clothes all ate more politely than the girls, for fear of upsetting the boss. After eating for a while, Qiqi held her bulging belly and shouted. I'm full. She jumped down from the stool, looked at Chen Mo and said softly. Brother, Qiqi wants to go out and play for a while. Qiqi made several new friends today. Oh, Chen Mo asked curiously. New friend, Lu Meng said sarcastically at this time. Haha, Brother Chen. Among the survivors in the underground garage, there happened to be a few children about the same age as Qiqi. Those children have been playing with Qiqi for a day, and they have a good relationship. Chen Mo nodded when he heard this. Okay, don't play too late. Come back to bed in a while, okay. Qiqi nodded obediently and ran out quickly, carefree. Luo Tianshang instructed. Lu Meng, you can follow me. I've seen those little babies too. Since I have a good relationship with Qiqi, let's let their relatives live together. There were nearly 100 survivors in the underground garage, all trying to join the lions and live in the house. Lu Meng nodded quickly, got up and followed out. Luo Tianshang then looked at Chen Mo and said, Brother Chen, you want to tell me something you said before. I wonder what is going on. Chen Mo put down the chopsticks in his hand and wiped his mouth. Staring at him, he spoke. Luo Tianshang, let me ask you. If people from the military region come to you, they want you to hand over the resources and weapons in your hands to help others and be included in them. Are you willing? As soon as he said this, a grumpy man opposite him immediately slapped the table. Boom, loudly. That's unreasonable. My lion brothers worked hard to find a place to live. We did what they didn't do. With nearly 100 survivors here, we did what they couldn't do. It's the end of the world, how can you have the nerve to conscript it? Luo Tianshang frowned and scolded. Have I asked you? Sit down for me. The man was shocked, then looked at his teammates around him awkwardly, and stopped talking. Luo Tianshang's eyes flickered. At this moment, he even sobered up a lot. In fact, this is what he is most worried about now. Now at the beginning of the end of the world, people from the military region have gone to protect the most important leaders. When everything settles down, the surrounding survivors will inevitably begin to gather together. Relying on the previous prestige, the other party only needs to raise their arms and the lion that they have worked so hard to build will fall apart. Whether in terms of equipment or strength, the large force formed by the survivors will eventually be annexed by unified harmony. Thinking that Luo Tianshang had finally waited for this opportunity, how great would it be to become the king? How could you give up your hard work to others? This is why he wants to search for survivors and train them to form his own force. Luo Tianshang looked at Chen Mo and said seriously. Brother Chen, if I say, don't want to. Chen Mo narrowed his eyes slightly and stared at him for a long time without speaking. Really, the person you were looking for is right. This may be quite difficult. Chen Mo said lightly. Luo Tianshang is not a fool either. Since Chen Mo said this, there must be some way. Luo Tianshang said with an unmoved expression. Brother Chen, what do you mean? All the old members of the lions around also pricked up their ears. Luo Tianshang. Brother Chen, don't worry, everyone here is my brother from life to death. Chen Mo nodded and said. Actually, your idea is not impossible. There are not many people who share Luo Tianshang's ideas. Before rebirth, there were several forces that were not weaker than the military region and were organized by people with superpowers. Of course, although there are internal differences among the military regions, otherwise there would not be several major war zones. Chen Mo, Luo Tianshang, in terms of resources and firepower, it's impossible for you to match him. But in the future, the strength of superpowers will exceed your imagination. You mean, we want to start with people with superpowers? Luo Tianshang immediately understood the meaning. Every word became extremely respectful. Chen Mo smiled and shrugged. I didn't say anything. I will get rid of the biggest threat to Tianquan City, the god of Qiongqi, before I leave. Although Tianquan City is not small, it still has too few talents. This is only the early stage. After the major forces have taken shape, the survivors will naturally come to seek asylum. Instead of wasting human resources searching for survivors, it would be better to start from other aspects. While talking, Chen Mo handed over a note. This note was written by him in the old rental house. Luo Tianxiang took the note. Take a look. The pupils are shocked. Even the hand holding the note couldn't help but tremble. His eyes were extremely hot, and he murmured extremely excitedly. These are all. Even the old members of the surrounding lions couldn't help but come over one by one. They huddled together and stared at the note. Boss, show me too. Fat man, don't squeeze me. I want to see too. Luo Tianxiang put the note into his clothes and looked at Chen Mo with excitement. Extremely respectful. Brother Chen, I cannot thank you enough for your kindness. If there is anything you need my help in the future, my lion can help. No matter what, I, the lion, will definitely help you. The note given by Chen Mo was filled with a page of names. Those people, including Shi Yuan. Without exception, they are all well known in various war zones and survivor forces. Of course, based on Chen Mo's memory, he only had a preliminary understanding of these superpowers. You probably know where they will appear. As for the more specific ones, Chen Mo raised the corners of his mouth slightly and smiled. These should be helpful to you, lion. This list contains some of Chen Mo's selfish motives. Those are more specific locations. Most of them were teammates who had a good relationship with him before his rebirth, and who also died tragically in that crusade. I still have a lot of things to do, and I have no time to look for them one by one. Let Luo Tianxiang go. It can be regarded as Chen Mo giving himself some psychological comfort. Luo Tianxiang said overjoyed. Brother Chen, that's enough, that's absolutely enough. This thing is really too important. I, Luo Tianxiang, am a rough man. Brother Chen, you have helped me time and time again. This kindness will surely be repaid in the future. Those on the list have powers that are simply unimaginable. Luo Tianxiang took a deep breath. What I should consider now is how to find those people on the list and let them join the lions. Several old members of the lions around shouted with great curiosity. Brother Chen, what exactly did you give to the boss? Let us take a look too. Yes, my brothers are really irritated. They really want to know. Luo Tianxiang was obviously in a good mood and smiled and cursed at the crowd. Ha ha ha, you guys, get back to your seats. If you don't want to eat it, just get out of here. Luo Tianxiang poured a glass of wine himself and took the initiative to hand it to Chen Mo. He said respectfully with hot eyes. Brother Chen, come here, let me toast you. Chen Mo wanted to refuse, but seeing Luo Tianxiang's enthusiasm, it was difficult to refuse. I just had a few drinks. Seeing this, a group of people became even more noisy and happy. Luo Tianxiang drank a glass of Laobai generously and laughed when he saw the frowning Chen Mo. Ha ha ha, Brother Chen, I didn't say that. In terms of the vastness of divine ability, I am not as good as you. But your drinking capacity is not as good as mine. Come on, Brother Chen is leaving early tomorrow morning. Today, brothers, we have to drink him down. He won't come back until he's drunk. Luo Tianxiang said loudly with a red face. This is the end of the world, and only strength can gain the respect of those who use it. A group of rich and powerful men all gradually became familiar with Chen Mo. Not as restrained as before, eating meat and drinking wine. I do not know how long it has been. Luo Tianxiang and others left drunkenly one by one. Luo Tianxiang specifically gave up his residence, and tentatively asked Chen Mo if he wanted to arrange for a few student girls to come. Although he was righteously rejected by Chen Mo, he still said before leaving that he would give Chen Mo a surprise tomorrow. Lu Meng came back with Qiqi. An extremely soft bed. Qiqi covered herself with quilt and stuck out her little head. Chen Mo smiled and patted her quilt and said, "Aren't you asleep yet? How's it going? Did you have fun today?" Qiqi nodded and said with a smile. Well, I made some new friends. Everyone was very nice to me. There was a little boy who wanted to steal my toys, but his mother beat him up. He screamed miserably. Brother, why don't they live in the house? Instead, they set up tents in the underground garage. Chen Mo smiled. Qiongqi was protected by herself and Luo Tianxiong, and no old member of the Lions dared to make her unhappy. Not to mention the survivors. Chen Mo said softly, maybe it's because it's more lively there. Qiongqi, do you like it here? Chen Mo asked with a smile. Qiongqi blinked when she heard this and looked at the quilt covering her body. She said softly, like, the bed here is so soft. Besides, my brother is here too. That's good. Chen Mo smiled, nodded and said, then why don't you go to bed quickly? Qiongqi closed her eyes and tossed and turned on the bed. Suddenly he said quietly, brother, Qiongqi misses her father a little bit. Chen Mo was slightly startled. I didn't know what to say for a while. He covered her with the quilt and said softly, go to sleep. My brother is with you. Can I tell you a story? Until the dead of night. He looked at Qiongqi, who was sleeping soundly on the bed, with a smile on her lips as she slept soundly. Chen Mo gently got up from the bed. One person came to another room and began to rest. I have to say that the place where Luo Tianxiong lives is indeed comfortable. This extremely soft big bed is completely different from the bed in the rental house that looks like a steel plate. Chen Mo lay on the bed, rarely relaxing. This may be the last time I enjoy it this way. Compared with Tianquan City, North China City is extremely dangerous. Moreover, Chen Mo remembered it clearly. 6th Military Region. That is, Lin Shu's grandparents and parents were also in that place. The next morning, outside the villa area, Luo Tianxiong and Chen Mo were walking on the Great Dao. Looking at Chen Mo beside him, Luo Tianxiong hesitated. Brother Chen, are you really not going to stay here for a few more days? He had promised Uncle Zhengguo before that he would send Qiongqi to a safe place. Chen Mo shook his head and said, my mission is accomplished. After Qiongqi, I will ask you to take care of me. Luo Tianxiong nodded. Don't worry, when Brother Chen comes back, I promise to let you see a fair and fat little princess. The two of them came to the entrance together. Here, Cao Fengyuan, Lu Meng, Zhang Dong and other members of the Lion are waiting here. There are nearly 100 people. Beside the lions, there were piles of supplies, large and small. Brother Chen, boss, they all shouted. Luo Tianxiong's face changed slightly and he said angrily, keep your voices down. The little girl is still sleeping in the villa. Luo Tianxiong turned to look at Chen Mo. Said with a smile, Brother Chen, since you have decided to leave, I won't say anything more. But look at these things I have prepared for you, brother. Chen Mo looked at the big and small bags on the ground with a strange expression on his face. Luo Tianxiong laughed and stepped forward to introduce them one by one. Brother Chen, look, these blue bags contain some instant food. It's enough for you to eat for 10.5 days. It's absolutely fresh. These bags contain some daily necessities. Aren't you going to North China City? I also sent someone to prepare a map of North China City. And this. Chapter 51. Inside and out, there are 12 in total. There were 7 bags containing food alone. Coupled with these miscellaneous daily necessities, even Qiongqi probably wouldn't be able to carry so much stuff. Chen Mo couldn't help but be silent for a while. Luo Tianxiong said with a loud laugh. Ha, Brother Chen, what's your expression? The next step is the main event. He clapped his hands. At this time, the sound of an engine starting was heard not far away. I saw Zhang Dong running over and driving an off-road vehicle at some unknown time. Car, Luo Tianxiong strode forward and opened the trunk of the off-road vehicle. Oops, it was actually filled with blades and several firearms. So gorgeous, Luo Tianxiong said extremely proudly. Brother Chen, how are you? I've marked the map of North China City. As long as you follow the route on the map. This car is definitely useful. Chen Mo didn't know what to say at this moment. Luo Tianxiong thought Chen Mo was too excited. Get ready to step it up. Looking at Cao Fengyuan in the crowd. Cao Zi, come here, don't you still want to apologize to Brother Chen? Among the crowd, Cao Fengyuan stepped forward with a somewhat sarcastic expression, carrying a cloth bag hanging on his waist. When he came to Chen Mo, he lowered his head and said, Brother Chen, I offended you a lot yesterday, please forgive me. These are the things my brothers did when they went out last night. This is my apology. With that said, Cao Fengyuan opened the bag, and it was filled with crystal nuclei. Moreover, they are all rank 1 crystal cores. There are about 20 or 30. Now, those zombies in the apocalypse have gradually evolved into rank 1. But in a short period of time, Cao Fengyuan was able to get so much. You can imagine how fierce the fight was last night. Cao Fengyuan looked a little frightened and said, Brother Chen, the Qiongqi god is in the direction of the Xinhuang group, and it has become a ruin. A few of our brothers went there when they came back. The god of Qiongqi, a monster like a mountain, has come out. Chen Mo narrowed his eyes slightly. Are you out yet? Chen Mo nodded. I see. Thank you very much, I will accept the crystal core. As for these supplies and off-road vehicles, we don't need them. The road to North China will definitely not be smooth sailing. After all, off-road vehicles are not as flexible and convenient as Qiongqi. As for the food, Qiqi will stay here, and she only needs to bring enough for 1 person. With your own strength, you can find a place to get it at any time. Luo Tianshong was shocked when he heard this. It seems that he did not expect that the farewell gift he had carefully prepared would be so vulnerable in front of the crystal core. Chen Mo turned around and looked at Luo Tianshong. Luo Tianshong, if you have the opportunity to store as many crystal cores as possible now, they will be of great use in the future. Luo Tianshong was startled and said with a smile. Brother Chen, I definitely understand this. Ever since Chen Mo said yesterday that these crystal nuclei are useful for people with superpowers. Luo Tianshong specially placed all the remaining crystal nuclei in a new place. Chen Mo shook his head. That's not what I said. He glanced at everyone, came to Luo Tianshong's side and said in a deep voice. If one day, a mysterious businessman about 1 meter tall, wearing a black robe whose face cannot be seen appears in Tianquan City, be sure to seize the opportunity and go to him with a large number of crystal nuclei. There will be something you need. I am leaving. Take care of Qiqi. After saying that, Chen Mo didn't say anything more. Instead, they set off directly towards the center of Tianquan City. Qiongqi turned into a tattoo on his body under the influence of Tianquan's supernatural power. It greatly strengthened Chen Mo's current physique and made him extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, the figure disappeared. Luo Tianshong was shocked. Looking at Chen Mo's back as he left calmly. I was lost for a long time, feeling a little lost. Mysterious businessman, what is that? Luo Tianshong has marveled at Chen Mo's foresight more than once. He didn't understand what this meant, but he believed that Chen Mo would definitely not lie to him. At this time, Zhang Dong on the side couldn't help but sigh. Hey, Brother Chen is such a god, he is so resolute and can do whatever he says. Only such a powerful person can thrive in this apocalyptic world. I think that before setting off, the lions and their party must check again and be fully armed. Luo Tianshong nodded in agreement. Yes, it's a pity that after all, he is not my lion's person. Zhang Dong, boss, do you think Brother Chen can really kill that god? As soon as the god of Qiongqi was mentioned, Cao Fengyuan's expression changed. It's like remembering some bad memory. In the venue, he and a few others were the only ones who had spied on Qiongqi god's appearance from a distance and did not dare to get even close. Luo Tianshong, don't worry, we just need to believe in him. Brother Chen's mystery is far beyond our imagination. We lions have a lot to do next. Luo Tianshong said with extremely excited eyes. Chen Mo's appearance once again gave him a direction. Look for the people on the list. As well as, store the crystal core and find the mysterious businessman mentioned by Chen Mo. The mysterious businessman appeared 3 months after the end of the world, or maybe earlier. It is different from the wandering traders who sell resources in exchange for profits in the apocalypse. It is an extremely special existence in the last days. It seems to have special abilities and will appear quietly anywhere. It is not hostile to humans, and can be exchanged for many unimaginable things. Materials, weapons, information, power. And it will give you a price. Because of its mystery, many people speculated on the true identity of the mysterious businessman. Could he also be a god? Why help the lions? It was because his appearance had been noticed by the people from the military region who came to rescue Lin Shu that day. After killing Lin Shu, he would not be able to join the 6th special zone in this life like he did before his rebirth. but it is incompatible with each other. The lion can be regarded as a means that Chen Mo left for himself to fight against the 6th Special Zone. In Tianquan city center. Before attacking the god of Qiongqi, Chen Mo planned to familiarize himself with the use of Tianquan's abilities. Puff, puff, several beams of silver light directly penetrated the bodies of the zombies in front of them. Blood flowed like a river, and zombies were alarmed by the sound and came from all directions. Emerging from the ruins, people rushed towards the dark store with their teeth and claws. After more than a month of evolution, there are still zombies remaining in the city center. It has long changed from what it used to be, and it is far from being easily knocked down by pistols and bullets. Chen Mo held the sword in his hand, and when he swept it, heads flew up one after another, and blood gushed out like a spring. Divine power, the power brought by Qiongqi's tattoo. Chen Mo felt as if his physical strength would never be exhausted, and he was very excited. Full of strength, after killing several zombies in succession, Chen Mo simply put down the sword in his hand and punched the dozens of zombies in front of him with the purest physical power. A surprising scene appeared. On the right fist, the shadow of Qiongqi's claw actually appeared. Tisk! This blow was extremely cruel. A long arc of blood passed through. Half of his body, intestines and internal organs were torn to pieces. Zombies blocking the road fell one after another. Chen Mo looked overjoyed and looked at his hands in disbelief. With a single wave, a boulder beside him was shattered. Boom! This is Qiongqi's power. The power of Tianquan is not only able to control alien species, but also allows one to control the power of conquered alien species. Chen Mo's eyes dropped sharply. Incredible! The power of heaven is lifted. He released Qiongqi together. Let him quickly master the power of rank 2 in order to cope with the next battle with Suki God. Today's Qiongqi is so big that he has a full circle. The body is majestic and huge, the orange hair on the body becomes darker, and the 4 claws are thick and powerful. What's surprising is that on both sides of his forehead, a trace of towering little horns are revealed for the first time. Apart from this hair, there is no trace of the orange cat at all. Roar! A thick and majestic roar sounded. Qiongqi looked at the zombies in front of him. He was very fast. He clapped his hands and easily turned those zombies into a pile of meat. Boom! Rubbles flew everywhere, and a deep pit appeared directly on the ground beneath his feet. Even the crystal core in the zombie's brain became shattered and ceased to exist. Roar! Qiongqi looked up to the sky and roared. This majestic voice caused the zombies that were pouring in around them to lose their consciousness for a moment. Being of the same species, Qiongqi's roar is a great deterrent to this group of zombies. Seeing this scene, Chen Mo grinned. It seems that after swallowing those crystal nuclei, you have improved a lot. Here, we are almost reaching the location of the god of Qiongqi. Chen Mo couldn't help but recall the terrifying scene he saw at Xinhuang group before. His eyes twinkled. At the beginning of the end of the world, Qiongqi god should only have rank 4 strength now. Suki's divine body is huge and moves extremely slowly and sluggishly. Use your own dominating powers to match the power of Qiongqi, the divine power. Thinking about it, it shouldn't be a problem to take down the god of Qiongqi. Chen Mo's heart was a little surging at the moment. Kill the god. This is myself before rebirth. A scene that is unimaginable. I never thought that now, I would actually come alone. Chen Mo felt that his whole body was more excited than ever before. He murmured extremely excitedly, "Bring it on." At the same time, inside the lion villa, Luo Tianxiang was looking at the yellow paper and thinking about something. Suddenly, bang bang bang, there was a knock on the door. "Come in," Luo Tianxiang said. Lu Meng walked in, along with Cao Fengyuan and Zhang Dong. When you see someone coming, Luo Tianxiang couldn't help but feel a little headache. "The little girl, are you still crying?" Lu Meng sighed and said rather helplessly. "Boss, there is really nothing we can do. Chi-Chi is always there crying and making trouble looking for brother Chen. I've tried everything, but nothing works." Luo Tianxiang pinched Qingming Point. "The problem is that he doesn't know how to take care of children." "What are you doing now, little girl?" "Lu Meng, I've been making trouble for a long time, and now I'm asleep again." Luo Tianxiang nodded. "Hey, isn't Chi-Chi having fun with those peers? Go and bring them all to stay with her, and tell their parents that whoever can make Qiqi happy will be my lion from now on. By the way, get some delicious snacks to send over. It's a little kid, just give him some comfort. Lu Meng nodded and left helplessly. Luo Tianxiang looked at Cao Fengyuan on the other side and said doubtfully, "What are you two doing here again?" Zhang Dong looked a little solemn and said, "Boss, Lao Yun and the others haven't come back yet." "What?" Luo Tianxiang frowned and said, "Didn't they go out hunting for crystal nuclei together last night? I was wondering before, where are they?" At this moment, Cao Fengyuan on the side shook his head and said, "Boss, they went to the west side of the city center. They said they would work separately with us to see who could hunt more crystal nuclei." Luo Tianxiang's frown deepened upon hearing this. He had previously sent Cao Fengyuan and others to the city center to hunt some crystal nuclei and bring them back to Chen Mo. That place in the city center has the presence of the god of Qiongqi. Coupled with the large number of zombies, it is inherently dangerous. Zhang Dong. Couldn't they have encountered the god of Qiongqi? "Boss, do you want to send someone to look for it?" Luo Tianxiang's eyes flickered and he pondered for a while. "It should be fine. Shou Qishan is at the Xinhuang group's location. It's not like they are going there." And just then, suddenly, a person rushed in from outside the door. With an anxious look on his face, he rushed in angrily and said loudly, Boss, it's not good. Li Fengyan is back seriously injured." Bang! Luo Tianxiang suddenly stood up from the table and said, "Where are they? Outside the villa area." Luo Tianxiang looked at Li Fengyan, who was covered in blood and missing an arm. My heart skipped a beat. A bad feeling arose. He clearly remembered yesterday that Li Fengyan and Cao Fengyuan set off together. There are fully 10 people in Li Fengyan's team. But now, only Li Fengyan is back. Cao Fengyuan's pupils shrank and he rushed forward. "Li Fengyan, why are you the only one back? Where are the people in your team?" Li Fengyan's breath was extremely weak and he was lying on a stretcher. He looked at Luo Tianxiang and Cao Fengyuan with somewhat blurred vision. When he saw Cao Fengyuan, he sobered up a lot in an instant. He stood up and stared at Cao Fengyuan, his pupils were enchanting, and he roared like a fierce ghost. "Cao Fengyuan, why did you lie to us? I kill you." Li Fengyan's only remaining hand was firmly grasping Cao Fengyuan's collar, his eyes were red. All the lions present suddenly looked over. Luo Tianxiang was also stunned and said, "What exactly is going on? Where are the people in your team?" Li Fengyan smiled sadly and said hoarsely, "Boss, they are all dead. We saw that Qiongqi god." "What?" Everyone present looked shocked. Cao Fengyuan's face turned pale. "This is impossible. That Qiongqi god is clearly at Xinhuang group in the city center. When I traveled last night, I took you to avoid that place." Li Fengyan yelled, "You bullshit Xinhuang group, we saw that monster in Watama Mall." "What do you mean? Is this monster still unable to teleport?" "Not in Xinhuang group." Cao Fengyuan took a breath and said loudly, "Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. The distance between Xinhuang group and Wodima is several kilometers. When we came back, several members of our team went to Xinhuang group to check it out. Everyone in our team can testify. How could that monster appear back and forth in 2 places in just one night?" "How do I know this?" Li Yunfeng's pupils were covered with bloodshot eyes. He coughed heavily and spit out a few mouthfuls of blood. Luo Tianxiang shouted angrily, "Okay, what the hell is going on? Where is the god of Qiongqi now?" Seeing the boss speaking, the two of them paused at the same time. "Keep talking about everything that happened last night." According to their description, the 2 teams sent out. Did they all see the god of Qiongqi at the same time? Luo Tianxiang frowned, feeling increasingly irritable. At this time, Zhang Dong, who had not spoken for a long time, suddenly said quietly, "Boss, do you think there may be more than one god of Qiongqi?" As soon as this statement came out, Luo Tianxiang's pupils shrank suddenly, feeling a little chilly all over. Even Cao Fengyuan and Li Yunfeng both looked over. "It's broken." Luo Tianxiang's expression suddenly changed. "If this is really the case, Brother Chen may be in danger." Luo Tianxiang, how long has Brother Chen been gone? Zhang Dong said, "It's been 4 or 5 hours. His grandma is a bear." Luo Tianxiang scolded angrily with a gloomy expression on his face. Zhang Dong. Bear. What kind of bear? Luo Tianshang said immediately. Zhang Dong. Hurry. Go and call all the brothers and bring their equipment. This thing will be in trouble if it really has two ends. On the other side, in the center of Tianquan City. This was once the workplace of Tianquan City's elite and white-collar workers. There are tall buildings everywhere that make people look up. Now, all the tall and magnificent buildings have been destroyed and collapsed. On the wasteland, zombies roared at those who came. Ho ho! An extremely dark shadow jumped up from a group of zombies. It's 4 to 5 meters high. It turned out to be a rank 2 zombie with only half a head and full of rotting maggots. The zombie was extremely fast, spewing an unpleasant stench from its mouth, and bit towards Chen Mo. Roar! Chen Mo frowned. A stroke of the right hand. The steel balls floating around his side shot out like bullets. Just as he was about to hit the center of the rank 2 zombie's forehead. The zombie turned sideways, and the steel ball directly penetrated its shoulder. Zombies can also improve their abilities after advancement. The speed of the zombie in front of you has obviously been greatly improved. Oh, Chen Mo said lightly, slightly surprised. What about this? Dominate the use of superpowers. Squeak, squeak. The surrounding ruins began to tremble violently. In an instant, pieces of scrap metal suddenly hit the zombies rushing in front of them, like sandwich biscuits. Bang! There was a crisp and loud sound from the impact of metal. The sword in his hand was cut down neatly. The zombie's head rolled down with a pop. Looking at the corpses of zombies all over the ground in front of him, as well as the seemingly endless zombies that kept rushing towards him, Chen Mo said, "We're almost there, Qiongqi, be careful. The closer you get to where the gods live, the more dangerous the zombies nearby are. With such a dense number, it's no wonder that the lions don't dare to explore deep inside." Qiongqi beside him growled in response. Sudden. A shrill roar came from directly ahead. Immediately afterwards, there was another harsh sound like a baby crying. The ground beneath my feet shook. When hearing this sound, the zombies pouring in from all directions suddenly stopped. Anomaly turned around and left. Chen Mo was startled. This voice sounds so familiar. The god of longevity and happiness. Chen Mo frowned, slightly surprised. He looked at Qiongqi, who was devouring zombie brains next to him, and said, "Qiongqi, let's go." Chen Mo rode directly on Qiongqi's back. Qiongqi slowly squatted down on his hind legs, then jumped up. In the ruins of staggered rocks, he rushed forward with great vigor. Behind a collapsed building. When you get here. Chen Mo's pupils shrank suddenly. Because the scene in front of me is really shocking. Rumble. The sound of the destroyed building collapsing could be heard endlessly. Under this bloody sky, the sky was filled with dust, fire, roars, and corpses densely packed like a tide. There was a huge thing lying on the ground like a giant mountain in front of him. More than 20 meters high. It looks like a huge baby, with white and tender skin and full of fat. The monster had no face, no eyes, no nose, just one mouth. The legs seemed to be sewn together, and they were constantly squirming like worms. He was constantly flapping his arms, and every time he hit it, countless rubble buildings would collapse, crushing groups of corpses. It made an extremely harsh sound. God of longevity. This frightening sense of oppression made Chen Mo tremble all over. Qiongqi next to him was also counting down his hair, grinning and roaring. Before his rebirth, he had already left Tianquan City before the god of Qiongqi was born. This was the first time Chen Mo saw the true appearance of the god of Qiongqi. In front of the god of Qiongqi, everything is so small. Chen Mo felt goosebumps all over his body. His eyes showed incomparable enthusiasm and excitement. Is this the god of Qiongqi? Then, who is the other one? In front of the giant Qiongqi god, there is a weird-looking zombie that looks like a woman. The female zombie's hair was disheveled and stained with countless blood scabs. The back and hands were covered with barbs that looked like white bones. It was roaring continuously. Chen Mo also felt a great sense of danger on it. Rank 3. Chen Mo's eyes kept flashing. Like fighting. The female zombie looked up to the sky and roared. Thousands of zombies around her were all biting towards the god of Qiongqi desperately. Boom. Another slap came down, like a giant hammer. The earth cracked and 1,000 waves rolled up. Everything around began to tremble violently. This familiar voice suddenly reminded Chen Mo. That's it. That corpse king in the supermarket that day. What's going on with these two monsters? Chen Mo pondered for a moment. This scene was something he had not expected. When the alien zombies advance to a certain level, they will have the consciousness of being a lord. The zombie in front of me is challenging the overlord of Tianquan City, Qiongqi. Chen Mo's eyes lit up and he murmured. Unexpectedly, someone actually got there first. Roar, Qiongqi on the side kept roaring, a little eager to try. Chen Mo, wait a minute. It just so happens that we can take this opportunity to see the reality of this god of Qiongqi. He once took a cursory glance at the information about Qiongqi. To prevent high blood and thick blood, its power is endless, and the most noteworthy ability is the scream of the god of Qiongqi. It can range from shattered eardrums to death on the spot. Chen Mo and Qiongqi are hiding here. The female zombie that was challenging the god of Qiongqi and covered with barbs didn't look very good. Countless zombies that were as dense as small black dots surrounded the behemoth Qiongqi god. But their attacks couldn't even penetrate the skin of god Qiongqi. Rumble, a loud noise came, and the god of Qiongqi moved his huge body slightly. He crushed hundreds of zombies surrounding him to death in an instant. The scene was extremely bloody. It's as easy as crushing an ant. The female zombie let out a long roar and jumped several meters high, directly onto the huge body of the god of Qiongqi. The extremely sharp nails sank into the body of the god of Qiongqi and climbed up extremely fast. When they reached the top of the mountain, the female zombie actually used the barbs of her hands to plunge heavily into the huge body of the god of Qiongqi in an instant. Then it slid downwards, relying on inertia to tear open two bloody holes, with green blood constantly spurting out. This blow obviously caused Qiongqi to feel pain. Quote, the god of Qiongqi made a long and harsh cry of pain like a bee. It started to violently agitate, and countless dilapidated buildings around it suddenly collapsed and fell. As the screams continued to echo, Chen Mo, who was hundreds of meters away, was still affected. My whole body was shaken and I had a splitting headache. Chen Mo's expression changed. Under the power of Tianquan, he seemed to hear clearly what the god of Qiongqi was saying. It hurts, it hurts. Is it hurt? Qiongqi god's huge arm began to swing downwards continuously, grabbing hundreds of zombies each time. Put it in your mouth and make a chilling chewing sound. Click, click. It's like he's regaining his strength. In this battle between zombies and the god of Qiongqi, there were thousands of zombies around. After just a while, there were no survivors left. The female zombie is so powerful that it constantly causes damage to the god of Qiongqi. Another roar, and this time, the god of Qiongqi directly flapped his fat and bloated arms, sweeping away the surrounding ruins one by one. He took a photo towards the female zombie. Boom. Dust and mist enveloped the sky, and the female zombie's barbs were smashed and flew out. It hit Chen Mo heavily. The bones were shattered and even the chest was dented. If it weren't for the rank 3 corpse king, I'm afraid he would have been slapped into a pulp. Qiongqi let out a low roar and looked over with great vigilance. The female zombie, covered in the blood of the god of Qiongqi, looked up. When he saw Chen Mo, he was shocked. Then he roared, quickly lowered his head, and fled into the distance. Escape, escape. The extremely weak information came through the power of Tianquan. Chen Mo frowned. He looked at the fleeing female zombie's back and said nothing. Is it a divine power? Or is it talking? Quote, ! Before he had time to think about it, the injured Qiongqi god behind him seemed to be furious and started to wreak havoc crazily. Rumble. The picture is extremely terrifying. The earth is cracked, rolling stones, dust, explosions. Chen Mo narrowed his eyes slightly and looked at Qiongqi. It's our turn, Qiongqi. Buzz. When the master's power was used, countless molten iron surged around him, and several steel balls in his pocket also floated up. Qiongqi was eager to give it a try and immediately jumped out. Chen Mo held the sword in hand and climbed onto the ruins very quickly. Watching the behemoth in front of you keep squirming. His face showed great calmness. Is this the destructive power of Qiongqi god? Although it is not as good as those gods who destroyed the world before rebirth. But in the early days of the end of the world, it is definitely an existence that makes everyone despair. Chen Mo waved his right hand. Controlling the dominating power, Countless molten iron around him turned into steel balls and shot out. Make a series of air explosion sounds. PFF'd, PFF'd. Today, his ability to dominate is no longer what it used to be. The power of these steel balls was instantly absorbed into the huge body of God Qiongqi. Deeply embedded into the flesh and blood. The size of the god of Qiongqi is simply too huge. These steel balls can't cause any real damage at all. But it was as dense as a shower. Soon, tiny holes appeared on the body of Qiongqi god. A stream of green blood flowed from it. Coupled with the damage caused by the female zombie earlier, the appearance looks extremely penetrating. Quote, exclamation mark quote. The god of Qiongqi let out an angry groan, grabbed a huge boulder and threw it towards Chen Mo. After becoming a dual power user, Chen Mo, whose physical fitness was greatly enhanced, could easily avoid it. Boom! A loud noise came from behind. Looking at the huge monster in front of him, even Chen Mo couldn't help but feel a little troubled. Although the god of Qiongqi has difficulty moving, his vitality is extremely tenacious. The zombie just tore it open with such long openings that it couldn't even hurt its life, let alone these steel balls. Rumble! Qishan grabbed the ground with both hands and crawled towards Chen Mo. A few little bugs challenged themselves again and again, making them even more furious. Eat, eat! Chen Mo moved forward. When he heard this voice, his face became calm and he sneered. Want to eat me? Then try it. Objects containing metal floated in the air and turned into liquids. The constant interweaving and surging gradually condensed into an extremely sharp metal blade that was several meters long and wide. To deal with giant things, use giant things. The continuous condensation of this metal blade is enough to cause huge damage to the god of Qiongqi. Mobilizing such a huge dominance power consumes more than a dozen small steel balls. Since a small steel ball can't do anything to you. What about this? Chen Mo's eyes showed excitement. The right hand slipped, directly urged the metal blade to stab towards the god of Qiongqi. The god of Qiongqi is cumbersome, moving extremely slowly like a mountain, and there is no way to avoid it. It raised its hand and tried to resist with its arms. PFF'd. The huge metal blade actually penetrated his palm. Green blood splashed like a fountain, and a pool of green blood soon appeared on the ground. Quote, exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. This time, as if feeling great pain, Qiongqi god's scream was even louder and harsher. This sound wave splashed out directly, and the liquid iron floating around instantly turned into a puddle and fell to the ground. And the metal blade on the palm that penetrated the flesh began to drip liquid. Its cry can not only affect people's intelligence, but also affect supernatural powers. And just then, a roar sounded. Roar! Qiongqi was afraid of climbing up Qiongqi god's bloated body, so he slapped his claws downwards with great strength and sharp claws. It was extremely easy to tear through the defense of the god of Qiongqi. The most frightening thing is, Qiongqi actually opened his mouth and started biting the flesh and blood inside, and half of his body sank directly into the body of god Qiongqi. The severe pain from both places made Qiongqi god shake his body like crazy, as if he was being shaken. Pain, pain. The bloated flesh of Qiongqi Shen's body caused waves of flesh. He kept trying to pat Qiongqi down with his other hand. Qiongqi's movements are extremely flexible and he can avoid them perfectly every time. Chen Mo looked at Qishan, who was in great pain. No wonder the god of Qiongqi, who couldn't even be defeated by the lion, was finally killed by Qiongqi. Most of the lions are ordinary people. Once the Qiongqi god screams, even ordinary superpowers can't resist it. Let alone them. But Qiongqi is so flexible that such a slow behemoth can't do anything to it. Even if it is slowly bled, it can be worn to death. I do not know how long it has been. At this moment, the god of Qiongqi is on the white and tender skin. It has long been scarred, filled with countless wounds and green blood. It was slapping the ground and surroundings in a manic manner. Chen Mo's eyes flashed when he saw this. I began to think secretly. Can the power of heaven conquer the gods? Chen Mo came to a high-rise waste rock. Try to release the power of heaven to communicate. Looking up at the huge beast in front of him, he said with an indifferent expression. The god of longevity and joy. Surrender to me. It hurts. Pain. Chen Mo walked over without any fear. The god of Qiongqi kept making painful wails, shaking his bloated body. After hearing Chen Mo's communication with it, the god of Qiongqi was startled, and suddenly paused for a moment. Its head, which only had one mouth, turned around. He obviously has no face, but he seems to be looking at Chen Mo. Seems to be confused. Why, can this bug talk to itself? When Chen Mo saw this, his eyes narrowed slightly. Submit to me, otherwise, die. He stopped Qiongqi, who was wreaking havoc on Qiongqi god's huge body. Qiongqi realized what he was doing and leapt deep, spanning dozens of meters. Boom! A huge cloud of dust arose all over his body and came to Chen Mo's side. Keep making loud roars. Roar, roar. It is also communicating with the god of Qiongqi. The air became quiet for a moment. Even Chen Mo couldn't help feeling uneasy at this moment. The heart was beating hard. This huge mountain in front of you is a god in the apocalypse. Even though the god of Qiongqi is just a god who is not very powerful. But subdue a god. This is something that has never happened before in the apocalypse, a shocking thing. Qiongqi's divine body is huge, and it is undoubtedly an oppressive and terrifying siege monster. If it can continue to grow, Chen Mo has no doubt that it can easily smash the indestructible city wall tens of meters high in the military zone. Although the current Qiongqi god is rank 4 in strength. But his IQ seems extremely low. Not as good as Qiongqi at all. With the communication between Chen Mo and Qiongqi, I seem to have roughly understood the meaning. It squirmed slowly, and the remaining wasteland was crushed by its huge size. He stretched out his fat right hand covered in blood. A low groan came out. Quote, when Chen Mo saw this, his eyes lit up. Could it be, eat, eat? Soon, Chen Mo understood its meaning. Some doubts. Eat. Suddenly, the hand that came slowly rumbled towards where he was and took a picture. Boom. Dust and mist rose all over the sky, and there was a deafening loud noise. In that area, under the terrifying power of God Qiongqi, the huge rocks were turned into powder, and not even the residue was left. God of Qiongqi made a mocking cry. We laugh. Whoosh! Qiongqi broke through the dust and fog in the sky, drawing a long arc in the air. Chen Mo, on the other hand, held onto its hair tightly and was also taken out by Qiongqi. Boom! Qiongqi landed firmly on a ruins. He bared his teeth with a ferocious expression and roared. Chen Mo, who was beside him, had a dark look on his face. His face was extremely ugly. Now, he finally understood what the Qiongqi god in front of him meant. It wants to eat itself. It's so shameless. The opportunity is given to you, in that case. Then kill the gods. Chen Mo's eyes flashed with a cold light. He snorted coldly. Qiongqi, kill it. Qiongqi immediately rushed out like a falling star. Chen Mo waved his hand. Use your dominance powers to the extreme. 20 meters, 25 meters, 30 meters. Strips of silver liquid suddenly sprang out from the surrounding wasteland, coming from all directions. It floats in midair as if it has turned into a long river. Chen Mo's face was cold. The molten iron was turned into a huge spear. He used his hands to drive his dominant power, and shot hard towards the behemoth in front of him. The god of Qiongqi had already suffered a lot of damage during the battle with the female zombie. But this time Chen Mo didn't intend to hold anything back. Be prepared to kill it alive on the spot. The spear penetrated deeply into the bloated body of god Qiongqi in an instant. Quote, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, quote. The violent roar resounded through the sky, deafening. Countless green blood spurted out, like a green rainstorm falling between heaven and earth. Qiongqi climbed all the way up to the neck of the god of Qiongqi, with layers of fat. The instinct of the beast made it bite the layers of fat with its scarlet eyes, blooming with an incomparable light. Roar! Pieces of flesh and blood were torn apart. The 4 pairs of claws were like a vice tightly clamped into the flesh of god Qiongqi. No matter how hard it struggles, it can't escape Qiongqi's bite. Looking at Shou Qishan, who was still struggling despite the bleeding, Chen Mo said coldly, the vitality is really tenacious. Using his master power 2 or 3 times in a row to gather such a huge force also consumed a lot of his physical strength. The dominant ability is rank 2 after all. If it weren't for the fact that he had dual powers and his physique was stronger than those with powers of the same level, he would have been exhausted long ago. Chen Mo's eyes were fierce. Taking a deep breath, I use the dominance ability again. I want to see how long you can hold on. And just then, the ground beneath my feet suddenly trembled violently. Quote, in the distance, dust and mist swept across the sky like a sandstorm. Dilapidated high-rise buildings collapsed one after another, and countless cracks appeared on the ground. Rumble. Chen Mo staggered and frowned. What happened again? When he looked towards the place filled with smoke and dust. Boom. Like being struck by lightning. Chen Mo's pupils shrank suddenly. I saw a huge creature exactly like the god of Qiongqi appearing in that direction. How can this be? It does not come by squirming, but by rolling with inertia. The two Qiongqi gods screamed at the same time. Countless dangerous waste stones around were shattered by these two terrifying sounds. This sound spread throughout Tianquan City in an instant. At this moment, whether you were in a safe place or a survivor in Tianquan City who is fighting zombies, they all looked towards the city center in unison, and their faces were filled with fear. Terrified, and the heavily armed members of the Mighty Lion hundreds who were driving the vehicle were even more shocked. Everyone covered their ears in pain. Ah, what is this sound? My head is going to explode. Luo Tianxiang, who is a person with supernatural powers, was in a better state when he heard this voice. He stood at the front of the car, picked up his binoculars and looked toward the city center, watching the sandstorm sweeping across Tianquan City on the other side. And that huge monster. His face was pale and he said in disbelief. What the hell is this? It's broken, please cheer me up and keep moving forward. It must be Brother Chen, fighting against the god of Qiongqi. Boss, it's bad. The front is blocked by collapsed tall buildings. Vehicles can't pass. At this time, a cry came from directly in front. Luo Tianxiang was startled and jumped suddenly. The vehicle underfoot suddenly collapsed and sunk in, half of the car body was submerged. He jumped several meters high and reached the front. When I saw the huge boulder in front of me that was 5 or 6 meters high, blocking it, Luo Tianxiang roared, and the muscles all over his body were filled with blood and swelled in an instant. Luo Tianxiang's eyes were red, under the horrified gazes of the lion members. Strike out with both fists. Boom. A-level normal abilities, 100-fold increase. He is a rank 1 superpower. Now the power can be increased 10-fold. And the other side, Chen Mo looked at the dying man in front of him. The god of Qiongqi with green blood all over his body. And the Qiongqi god on the other side is crawling towards this place, setting off a terrifying sandstorm. The whole body is cold. Chen Mo's voice was a little hoarse as he murmured. Why, there will also be a longevity god. The two-headed god of longevity and joy has never been recorded even in the military region before his rebirth. Chen Mo's eyes kept flashing. In an instant, everything about the god of Qiongqi in Tianquan City was recalled in his mind. According to the information left in the military region, the god of Qiongqi is wreaking havoc in Tianquan City. The survivor organization Lion sent Luo Tianxiang to send thousands of heavily armed people to attack. Completely annihilated, when the 6th Special Zone dispatched a team of superpowers to Tianquan City. Luo Tianxiang and the lion disappeared without a trace, and the traces left behind were judged to be evacuation. Then Qiongqi fought with the god of Qiongqi, killing and devouring him. The team of superpowers took action and suffered heavy losses to no avail. Qiongqi became the new overlord of Tianquan City. Evacuate, Chen Mo murmured, although the strength of this Qiongqi god is rank 4. But there is nothing he can do about rank 2 himself and Qiongqi. Even after advancing to rank 6 at that time, the lions were still growing. There is no way that so many people in the lion can't do anything. Chen Mo's pupils condensed. It's like I thought of something. A terrifying possibility emerged in my mind for no apparent reason. Could it be that Luo Tianxiang and others at that time? Didn't you expect the second one to appear? Therefore, after suffering heavy losses and being unable to compete, they finally chose to leave Tianquan City. And it was this second head that Qiongqi swallowed. Boom. In front of me, there was a sudden loud noise. The huge body of the Qiongqi god rolling in the distance collided heavily with the one in front of me. The collision between the two meat mountains, the layers of fat on their bodies were like waves. The terrifying airflow in the venue can even lift people away. Don't think too much. Chen Mo looked solemn and shouted loudly. Qiongqi, roar. Qiongqi jumped from the air. Use the power of heaven. The Qiongqi in the sky turned into dots of starlight and disappeared in an instant. And on Chen Mo's left arm, a strange tattoo suddenly appeared. The power of Tianquan allows you to share Qiongqi's abilities. Chen Mo felt energetic, light and agile all of a sudden. With a deep jump, he quickly opened a gap of 20 to 30 meters between him and the dying Qiongqi god in front of him. This huge air current swept away countless rubbles. Chen Mo used metal to condense a wall in front of him. Ding, ding, the second longevity god let out a cry. Quote, exclamation mark quote. He actually opened his mouth and bit into the dying Qiongqi god in one bite. The scene was extremely shocking, with scorched earth, ruins, and a mountain of meat eating another mountain of meat. Just the airflow stirred up by the arrival of the god of Qiongqi destroyed everything. Behind him, there was Tianquan city in a mess, full of ruins. What it brings is the end of the natural disaster. Quote, quote, the dying Qiongqi god kept struggling and roared in extreme pain. The second Qiongqi god pulled its flesh and blood with both hands, tore off a large piece and swallowed it. It made a strong chewing sound. Tasty. Even if it was Chen Mo, he couldn't help but feel a little creepy. The smelly, sticky green blood soaked into every crevice in the ruins. In his consciousness, Qiongqi's call came. Chen Mo said to himself. I know. During this period, he took out a few rank 1 crystal cores to restore his strength. His eyes narrowed slightly. No wonder the people from the military region didn't find the first Qiongqi god when they came here. It turned out that it had been eaten clean a long time ago. But this Qiongqi god seems to be smarter. If you don't come early, you won't come late, but you come at this time. With the blessing of Qiongqi's power, Chen Mo held the sword in his hand and rushed away like a ferocious beast. After avoiding many obstacles, he jumped onto the dying Qiongqi god. Perhaps in comparison, Chen Mo's size is too small, as an ant. The second Qiongqi god didn't seem to notice Chen Mo's existence at all. Open your mouth and get ready to bite again. Chen Mo took this opportunity to squat down, jumped directly on it, and said coldly. Don't touch other people's things. PFF'd. The sword in his hand plunged into this mountain of meat in an instant. Dominate the ability to activate. Countless silver liquid iron surged out of the surrounding ruins and swept towards this place. It turned into whirlpools and gathered in the sword. With Qiongqi's blessing, the range that his domination ability can activate has expanded to 60 meters. Infinitely approaching rank 3 superpowers. Chen Mo held the sword tightly with both hands, and his eyes revealed a breathtaking light. Behind him, there seemed to be this strange shadow helping him. Chen Mo roared angrily. Use your dominance powers to the extreme. Countless molten iron around them rose into the sky, like streams flowing into the river and the sea. Submerged in the sword, the weight of the sword in my hand is getting heavier and heavier, sinking deeper into it inch by inch. Gurgling green blood emerged from it, and the Qiongqi god was stepping on it. I only felt that my body became heavier and heavier. But he still wanted to tear off the flesh and blood of the dying Qiongqi god and devour it. You know, the corpse of a god is a good thing. And, if I remember correctly, after killing the god, the legendary mysterious businessman will come looking for you. In exchange for the corpse of a god. Seeing this shameless Qiongqi god still showing off his trophies. You still eat it. At this moment, Chen Mo was really anxious. His eyes were red and he yelled. I told you not to eat other people's trophies. Boom. A terrifying aura burst out from Chen Mo. 80 meters. 100 meters. At this moment, all the metal within 100 meters radius condensed into an extremely sharp long blade, which was dozens of meters long and wide. Like the sword of Damocles hanging in the sky. Suddenly, it hit the spine of the Qiongqi god under his feet. Quote, quote, the shrill sound of pain resounded. Chen Mo on his body was soaked in the green blood gushing out, like a ghost. Boom. A loud noise and dust cloud exploded, the earth cracked, and there was a feeling of weightlessness underfoot. This heavy metal giant sword actually nailed the Qiongqi god to the collapsed ground in a terrifying way. A sinkhole with hundreds of meters of depressions. In the center, a doomsday god was crucified. No matter how wildly the Qiongqi god struggled, it couldn't get rid of the giant metal sword inserted in the center of its body. Chen Mo was breathing heavily. Qiongqi appeared from Tianquan's power, came to his side and kept growling in concern. Chen Mo's eyes were bloodshot and he waved his hands. I'm fine. Standing up from the ground shakily. Look at the giant metal sword inserted into the body of the god of Qiongqi. This blow directly drained all his energy. Relying on Qiongqi's power, he exploded far beyond the limits that rank 2 superpowers can use. Rank 2 superpowers, slaughter rank 4 gods. Look around. It was a mess and ruins, smoke was everywhere, and no piece of it was intact as far as the eye could see. Under the bloody sky, 2 shocking giants were dying here. Chen Mo did not enjoy the satisfaction of killing a god alone. Instead, he glanced at the god of Qiongqi who had been half-eaten. He stepped viciously on the Shoshi god beneath him. I'll let you eat it. Let you eat. The spine pierced by the giant metal sword seemed to be its lifeblood. A faint whisper came from the extremely weak and dying Qiongqi god at his feet. Quote, Rao, spare me. The end under his feet was pierced by a giant metal sword, and the dying Qiongqi god seemed to be calling out. Chen Mo was stunned. His eyes narrowed slightly. Oh, this god of longevity and joy actually begs for mercy. Chen Mo pondered for a while, then squatted down. He placed his left hand on the body of the god of Qiongqi. Use the power of heaven. Surrender to me. This longevity god is obviously much smarter than the first one. After feeling this consciousness, he stretched out his 2 hands feebly. He let out an extremely weak moan. Wish, willing. When this idea comes, in the palm of Chen Mo's left hand, suddenly a bright purple light burst out. Dots of starlight gradually appeared on the huge Qiongqi god beneath him. It evolved into strips of purple aura and disappeared into Chen Mo's left hand. Boom! It was like something hit me hard in my mind. Chen Mo suddenly felt a splitting headache. The pain is excruciating. On his left arm, an extremely anomaly tattoo gradually appeared. The tattoo continued to spread upwards, all the way to the left chest. It reveals an incomparable beauty of anomaly. Chen Mo gritted his teeth and suppressed the unbearable pain. The power of heaven can really subdue the gods. But now he is just Chen Mo with rank 2 powers. It is obviously extremely difficult to accommodate this rank 4 Qiongqi god. The huge Qiongqi god beneath him trembled. I became restless and restless. The huge metal sword that penetrated his body instantly turned into liquid. Rumble, the rolling stones surged and dust flew everywhere. Sudden, awe, Chen Mo's eyes were bloodshot and he roared ferociously. In my mind, I inexplicably established a connection with this Qiongqi god. The god of Qiongqi at his feet turned into countless purple mist in an instant and merged into his left hand. Qiongqi held the painful Chen Mo in his mouth and jumped to a ruins. Keep licking his cheek with your tongue. I do not know how long it has been. Chen Mo slowly opened his eyes. When I saw the surrounding area was empty. And the Qiongqi god Tokihu was dead and only half of his body was left. He murmured somewhat blankly, success. Chen Mo felt a little unbelievable, and he opened his sleeves. On his left arm, a hideous tattoo appeared suddenly, like a symbol. Chen Mo's eyes suddenly brightened. Lord, Master. That extremely weak voice sounded in my mind. The god of longevity and happiness. Chen Mo was overjoyed and released him. Rumble, a huge creature appeared in the deep pit. On his body, there was a huge wound like a crack in the abyss. Qiongqi growled. The god of Qiongqi also kept humming in response. However, its IQ is higher than the previous one. But it's not much higher. Chen Mo asked it many questions, but all of them had little knowledge and could only understand the most basic commands. The god of Qiongqi moved his huge body and turned over. Countless gravel and dust were shaken off. It was looking directly at Chen Mo with its face that only had one mouth. The behemoth in front of him made a longing request. Eat. Want to eat. Chen Mo frowned when he saw this. Does it want to eat the other Qiongqi god? No. Chen Mo stopped without hesitation. He had eaten most of his trophy before. The corpse of the god of Qiongqi is still of great use to him. Don't let it eat you. Pain. Chen Mo looked at the injuries on Shou Qishan's body. The metal giant sword penetrated directly through his spine. Up to now, a large amount of green blood is still flowing out. Chen Mo's eyes flickered and he spoke. There are many corpses of rank 1 zombies around here. Eat them all to recover from your injuries. Before, when the corpse king came to challenge, there are literally thousands of zombies dead here. I think it should be enough. The god of Qiongqi kept repeating the word, pain, for a long time. Chen Mo said it several times but it couldn't understand it. until Qiongqi on the side picked up a zombie from nowhere and roared. Roar, eat this zombie in front of it. Only then did the god of Qiongqi understand the meaning. Dragging his fat and bloated body, he crawled forward, making a huge noise. Chen Mo also let it go. Now I'm starting to get a headache. This is just a Qiongqi god included in the power of Tianquan. It puts a huge burden on one's spirit. If I give Qiongqi another income, I'm afraid my head will explode. Rank 2's natural power is a bit too forced after all. Chen Mo glanced at Qiongqi beside him. Fortunately, Qiongqi is very easy to communicate with, and it is convenient to travel with it. As long as Qiongqi and Qiongqi are not included in the Tianquan ability at the same time, there will be no serious problem. But this incident also made Chen Mo understand. The power of Tianquan is not only able to conquer alien species. Even apocalyptic gods like the god of Qiongqi can be subdued. Chen Mo took out a few rank 1 crystal cores and threw a few to Qiongqi. Well done. Then he began to absorb and restore his physical strength. Looking at this ruins filled with smoke, Chen Mo's eyes flashed as he came to the body of the god of Qiongqi. The remaining half is still a huge behemoth. And Shi, who was digging through the ruins with his hands in the distance, picked up dozens of zombies and put them in his mouth to chew. Chen Mo had a dark look on his face. This half. I don't know if we can induce the mysterious businessman to appear. As far as I know from memory, the mysterious businessman can appear anywhere. And he wouldn't stay there for long at all, maybe he would disappear after an hour. If you actively want to find him, it will be as difficult as climbing to the sky. But there is another way. Let the mysterious businessman come to your door. The mysterious businessman comes and goes without a trace. When a god's corpse or treasure appears, it will have a high chance of appearing here. And take the initiative to ask you to exchange goods. No one knows how it does it. Chen Mo took a deep breath, found a place to sit down and waited quietly. I don't know if half a corpse will do. I hope the mysterious businessman can come. Among the treasures of the mysterious merchant, there are countless treasures. Everything you want, it can satisfy you. Before rebirth, he was a rank 6 psychic. But I have never met the mysterious businessman, only hearsay. Chen Mo looked into the distance. Looking at the dark red sky, I don't know what I'm thinking. At this moment, in this wasteland, a cool breeze blew by. Behind him, there was suddenly the sound of rustling footsteps. Under the crimson sky, a short man in black robe, less than 1 meter tall, walked step by step through the ruins. Qiongqi beside him was keenly aware of the movement behind him. It turned around suddenly, its hair standing on end, and kept growling. Chen Mo, who was closing his eyes to nurturing spirit, was startled. He stood up and looked behind him. When I saw the short man in black robes whose face he couldn't see clearly. The pupils shrank suddenly, somewhat unbelievable. Mysterious businessman, actually came. Chen Mo didn't know how he was feeling at this moment. Before rebirth, many people spent their whole lives trying to find it. Except for some high-level officials in the military region, only a handful of peak superpowers could see the mysterious businessman. The man in black robe is like a ghost, walking in this wasteland. It slowly came to Chen Mo and just stood there without speaking. For a long time, a somewhat surprised hoarse voice sounded. It's you, kill the god of Qiongqi. Chen Mo nodded calmly. It's me. The mysterious businessman paused and seemed to be sizing up Chen Mo in front of him. Then he said quietly, I want to trade that body with you. Exchange. In the early days of the apocalypse, many people with superpowers did not know the origin of the mysterious businessman. When you choose to refuse the exchange, the mysterious businessman in front of you will disappear in an instant. Chen Mo said without hesitation. Exchange. The mysterious businessman said simply and clearly. What do you want? Chen Mo pondered for a while and said tentatively. I want a boundary crystal core and a knife that can kill gods. The boundary crystal core is something that allows a person with superpowers to break through the upper limit of superpowers and strengthen their superpowers. As soon as these words came out, the mysterious businessman was shocked. It hasn't spoken yet. Does this person know the boundary core? You. Where did you get the boundary crystal core? The mysterious businessman asked. Chen Mo. Is this an exchange? The mysterious businessman shook his head. He looked at the body of the god of Qiongqi and said, "Not enough. Only half of its body is left." Chen Mo narrowed his eyes slightly. "Which one is not enough? Boundary crystal core, or a sword that can kill gods?" "Not even enough," said the mysterious businessman. "Since you know the boundary core, you should understand its value. Boundary crystal cores can enhance abilities beyond the same level. Its existence is tantamount to allowing superpowers to gain rank 1 out of thin air." Chen Mo's eyes flickered. It was a mutilated and incomplete corpse of the god of Qiongqi, so he didn't have high expectations. "Mysterious businessman, your power is very powerful, you don't need this thing. If you add that complete one, I can give you a C-level boundary crystal core." Chen Mo refused. "Let's talk about your conditions." The mysterious businessman nodded. "It doesn't have any action." But there were ripples in the space beside it. From it, an extremely dark and extremely sharp sword suddenly emerged. This tachi was dark black, with a smooth and sharp blade. A blood line in the center extended from beginning to end, and the blade was stained with mottled blood that had been there for an unknown period of time. The handle of the knife is wrapped with a cloth ribbon, and a wisp of white cloth floats. It looked full of blood and evil spirits. Onikiri can absorb a small amount of blood and restore physical strength. The metal in it is the hardest thing in the world. Your domination ability is also controllable. It's enough for you to use now," the mysterious businessman said without any emotion. His voice was hoarse and indifferent. Chen Mo looked at the sword in front of him, his eyes flashing continuously. The mysterious businessman always notarizes, and it is always an exchange of equal value or a little more. I have never heard of anyone being cheated. Not only can the power of heaven be controlled, but it can also absorb blood and restore physical strength. Chen Mo was a little moved. After weighing it again and again, he spoke. "Change." The mysterious businessman nodded. The sword Onikiri was floating in front of Chen Mo. The domination ability is activated. The Onikiri in front of him instantly turned into a puddle of dark black molten iron. Under Chen Mo's control, he recovered. Chen Mo's eyes lit up. "Really? I still want to change something," Chen Mo said. Mysterious businessman. "What?" Chen Mo. F-level recovery potion. Mysterious businessman. 5 rank 1 crystal cores, exchange for 1 bottle. Chen Mo nodded and exchanged all the remaining rank 1 crystal cores for recovery potions. A total of 20 bottles were redeemed. This was also thanks to the Zombie King calling for thousands of zombies to come. In the free time just now, he and Qiongqi got more than 100 rank 1 crystal cores just by collecting them. There are even dozens of rank 2 crystal cores. Of course, a large part of it was eaten by the god of Qiongqi for recovery. There is a daily upper limit for the absorption of crystal nuclei. F-level recovery potions can not only cure zombie infections, but also quickly restore physical strength. Before rebirth, many of the most magical potions in the military region were simplified versions developed based on items exchanged by mysterious merchants. After redeeming everything, the figure of the mysterious businessman gradually disappeared from the spot. Even it was confused when it left. "Why does the person in front of me know so much?" Chen Mo looked at the mysterious businessman's disappearing figure. Suddenly he spoke. "Who am I to kill the gods?" The mysterious businessman said nothing. At the last moment of disappearing, it said quietly, "I will tell you if we meet again next time." As soon as he finished speaking, the mysterious businessman disappeared like a breeze. Not far away on the other side, there was a huge creature with only half of its body left. The body of God Qiongqi also disappeared. It was as if he had never been here before, leaving no trace. Chen Mo laughed loudly and said with fiery eyes, "I think we will meet again next time." After the mysterious businessman left, Chen Mo directly took out a small bottle of slender recovery potion. Swallowed it. All the physical strength in his body was greatly replenished in an instant. The physical strength from the previous battle with the 2 Qiongqi gods was also completely restored at this moment. The effect is remarkable. Chen Mo's eyes were bright and he looked at the Onikiri in his hand. "I never thought that I could really kill the god of Qiongqi by myself." After rebirth, he conquered the 2 great powers of Qiongqi and Qiongqi. This strange feeling feels like a world away. Chen Mo held Onikiri tightly and slashed hard in front of him. The huge rock wall in front of him was cut in half as easily as if it were made of paper under Onikiri. Its sharpness and material are completely unmatched by any metal in the world. If I were to face the god of Shuki again, holding the onikiri, I would easily penetrate his huge body of flesh and blood. Rather than being directly embedded in his flesh and blood like those steel balls comparable to sniper rifle bullets. Put the onikiri away. Chen Mo's eyes were firmer than ever before. Murmured, next, it's time to go to Huabei City. Wait for me. There is also the 6th war zone that Lin Shu relies on behind him. If they don't know whether to live or die. A flash of murderous intent flashed through Chen Mo's eyes as he looked across the way, pulling at the ruins. The god of longevity who looks for zombie corpses to restore his strength. No words were spoken. A rank 4 god of Qiongqi, in this early stage of the end of the world. For any survivor force, it will be a devastating disaster. The military district is no exception. And just then, the direction of the god of Qiongqi in the distance. Suddenly there was an extremely ferocious sound of firearms. Bang, bang. The god of Qiongqi let out a long groan as if he had been stimulated. Quote, Chen Mo's face changed slightly and he looked over. In the distance, hundreds of members of the Lions came here without knowing when. They were each heavily armed and holding firearms. Chen Mo frowned. Lion man, why are they here? Now, the male lions all looked up at this shocking giant with expressions as if they had seen a ghost, and their scalps were numb. Many people's legs couldn't stop shaking, and they bravely attacked with guns in hand. Monster, die to me. What the hell is this? Bang, bang, bang. The dense sound of gunfire hit the Qiongqi god's huge body like raindrops. Compared with Chen Mo's previous massacre of 2 Qiongqi gods, these hundreds of male lion members attacked like a violent storm. The bullets from these rifles couldn't even penetrate Shou Qishan's flesh at all. Everyone's pupils were dilated and their eyes were horrified. This attack actually stimulated the Qiongqi god and made it scream. Quote, exclamation mark. Quote. In an instant, hundreds of menacing lion members were present. Everyone had a splitting headache, covering their ears in pain as if they were going to explode. What's more, his mouth and nose started to bleed, and he fainted on the spot. Boss, how about we withdraw? This monster can't be killed at all. Zhang Dong beside him said loudly with a look of fear on his face. When it screamed, several brothers fell down. Fart, as long as you live, there is no one who is not afraid of guns. Luo Tianshang, who was at the front, roared angrily. Hit them all hard. Let me find Brother Chen. If you want to see someone alive or dead, you will see a corpse. If you can't find it, don't go back. Even though he had seen attacks for so long, they couldn't even penetrate the opponent's defense. Also extremely desperate, encountering this monster. Brother Chen, is something really wrong? Luo Tianshang's face looked extremely ugly. He did not doubt Chen Mo's strength. But this monster in front of me is really terrifying. Like a nightmare, Luo Tianshang looked around. Keep looking for Chen Mo. Old boss, that monster is about to take action. Zhang Dong's frightened voice sounded. I saw this behemoth in front of me waving its extremely fat arms and smashing down on a group of people. If this blow continues, I'm afraid that most of the lions present will be photographed like meat pies. Ah! Each member of the lion roared crazily and fired with guns. Luo Tianshang's eyes widened even more with anger. He would never allow so many of the lion's brothers to die here. Luo Tianshang, get the hell out of my way. 100-fold increase. Luo Tianshang, who possesses A-level powers, is not weak in this apocalyptic world. Luo Tianshang's whole body swelled, and his tall body had already reached 2 meters in height. Lifting a huge boulder from beside him, he threw it towards the god of Qiongqi. Boom! But in front of the huge palm of the Qiongqi god, the huge stone was like an egg hitting a stone. It was shot to pieces in an instant. Just when that huge slap was about to fall. Sudden, the right hand of the mountain of meat in front of me actually stopped in midair and disappeared into little bits of light. A group of crazy-looking members of the lions stood there blankly. Everyone's expressions were confused and full of confusion. No, where's that monster? Why did you suddenly disappear? The behemoth that was 20 or 30 meters high a second ago. He suddenly disappeared in the next second. Even Luo Tianshang couldn't help but be dumbfounded by this incredible scene. Only the deep pits and gun shells left here announced the existence of a huge beast. Zhang Dong rubbed his eyes, as if wondering if he had seen it wrong. He came over cautiously, whispered, "Boss. What's going on? Yes, where was the monster just now? Why did it suddenly disappear?" Many members of the lions also stared with big eyes. "Slap me and see if I'm dead." Snapped. "Are you really smoking?" This feeling of surviving a disaster makes everyone in the lions very happy. Luo Tianxiang took a deep breath and looked around at the empty surroundings. "Don't even think too much," said in a deep voice. "Never mind that for now. We don't know when that monster will appear again. Quickly, go and find brother Chen Mo here." Luo Tianxiang shouted at the lion members beside him. "No need to look for it, I'm already here." At this moment, a faint voice sounded in the distance. In the distance, Chen Mo and Qiongqi were seen slowly approaching. Chen Mo didn't want the lion to know that he had a second power that could subdue the gods as well. Because this thing is really shocking to the world. If word spreads, there will be countless troubles in the future. Luo Tianxiang was overjoyed when he saw that the person who came was Chen Mo. A group of members of the lions also came forward one after another. "Brother Chen, Brother Chen." Chen Mo nodded. He looked at Luo Tianxiang. "What are you doing here?" Luo Tianxiang looked around with a wary expression. It seemed that he was afraid that the Qiongqi god just now would appear again. Said in a deep voice, "Brother Chen, quick, come with us. This god of Qiongqi may be more than just one. We were fighting a Qiongqi god just now, somehow. The god of Qiongqi suddenly disappeared. This Luo Tianxiang actually brought the lion to save him." Chen Mo was slightly surprised. He spoke calmly. "No need, Qiongqi god has been dealt with by me. Only one is here." Zhang Dong beside him frowned when he heard this. "That's not right. That guy Li Yunfeng said he met the other side. How come? And brother Chen, hundreds of our brothers were fighting that Qiongqi god just now. What's that on the other side?" Zhang Dong had many doubts in his heart. And just then, Luo Tianxiang's eyes flashed and he shouted, "Okay, Zhang Dong. Since brother Chen has already said that the Qiongqi god has been solved, then it must have been solved. Why are you asking so many questions?" Luo Tianxiang laughed, stepped forward and patted Chen Mo's shoulder heavily. He said loudly and boldly, "Since brother Chen is safe and sound, then this matter can be considered understood. From now on, this Tianquan city will be my lion's world." As soon as the longevity god disappeared, brother Chen appeared. He was almost certain that this matter had something to do with brother Chen. But he, Luo Tianxiang, is not a fool. Know that everyone has their own secrets. If we get to the bottom of it, I'm afraid it will make Chen Mo unhappy. Chen Mo naturally knew that Luo Tianxiang might have guessed something. Luo Tianxiang is a sensible person. It's comfortable to deal with smart people. Chen Mo smiled lightly. "Don't worry, the god of Qiongqi will not appear again in the future. By the way, there is a special zombie in Tianquan city. You should pay more attention. That female corpse king." Chen Mo briefly summarized it. Luo Tianxiang nodded and expressed gratitude. "I see. Thank you for reminding. Brother Chen, are you going to Huabei City now?" Chen Mo, "Well, take the highway." Luo Tianxiang, "I have done what I promised you. Take care of Qiqi for me and tell her to behave here. Brother will come to pick her up later." Luo Tianxiang nodded heavily. His expression was solemn and he said with some reluctance, "Brother Chen, have a nice trip." Chen Mo didn't say anything more and rode on Qiongqi. Qiongqi, who was sitting down, roared and jumped up. He stepped on the rubble and ruins vigorously and nimbly and disappeared here. What the hell? Can this tiger raised by brother Chen still be rideable? Isn't this so much more handsome than a car? In the apocalypse, cars can hardly drive very far. Almost every few steps they take, they are blocked by ruins. The members of the lions looked at Chen Mo's retreating figure, with envy on their faces. How great it would be if I could have the strength of brother Chen. You can go wherever you want. Where did the Qiongqi god go? Brother Chen said it has been solved. Is it true that it won't happen again? Zhang Dong also said with lingering fear. Luo Tianxiang raised his hand and said, "If you're not supposed to ask, don't ask any more. No one should ever mention this again." He didn't know what method Chen Mo used to make the Qiongqi god disappear. But he can do such incredible things. He, Luo Tianshang, only believed it was Chen Mo. We lions should also try to cheer me up, look at how you are doing. I almost peed my pants just now. After I return, you will give me even more training. If anyone can awaken his superpower, he will be my confidant, Luo Tianshang. Let's go. Qiongqi, that direction. At this moment, Qiongqi is constantly running towards the entrance of Tianquan City Expressway. Everything he passed was exactly as he had guessed. Today's zombies have all advanced to rank 1 at least. Chen Mo used his dominance ability. The extremely dark Onikiri was like the scythe of death. It's sharp and direct, and it can easily cut through the zombies in the surrounding area. PFF'd. When the ghost cut off the zombie's head, it was unbelievable. On the sword blade, wisps of weak black energy filled the air. My physical strength is actually recovering. Chen Mo's eyes lit up. They say the weapons exchanged at the mysterious merchant are unbelievable. Has extraordinary power that is not of this world. I can't believe that this is really the case. Chen Mo was a little happy. Although Onikiri doesn't recover much physical strength each time. But after killing zombies continuously, the accumulation of this little bit of physical recovery should not be underestimated. Cut open the crystal nuclei in the brains of these zombies and take them out. Chen Mo took the map to North China City given by Luo Tianshang. Riding Qiongqi, we came to this place. At the entrance of Tianquan City Expressway. The former expressway suddenly collapsed and piled up into an insurmountable ruin. Isolated from the densely packed and roaring zombies on the other half of the highway. On the endless ruins in front of him, Qiongqi jumped to the top of a high-raised rubble. Bang! It landed steadily on it. Chen Mo lowered his head and looked around at the dense scene in front of his eyes. At least there are hundreds of them. Abandoned vehicles are lined up here, more or less, all of them have suffered huge trauma. There were many zombies who heard what was going on at Chen Mo's place. He kept pulling towards the ruins, trying to break up the huge pile of rubble at Chen Mo's feet. There are more zombies on the highway than anyone can imagine. In the early days of the apocalypse, a large number of survivors tried to escape from this ghost place by car. This also resulted in a situation where the place was so congested that it was impossible to move at all. And now, there is another pile of rubble at the entrance, which isolates this place from Tianquan City. Seeing this scene, Chen Mo thought for a while and murmured. No wonder there are so many zombies on this highway. If these zombies are allowed to flow in, I'm afraid the number of zombies in Tianquan City will increase several times. The highest among these zombies is rank 2. In Chen Mo's eyes at this moment. They are nothing more than large batches of crystal nuclei. The number of crystal cores required to advance Tianquan's abilities is extremely large. In addition, I still have a Qiongqi and a Qiongqi god to raise. Chen Mo would not miss such a good opportunity. Come out. The god of longevity and joy. Chen Mo's eyes were bright. The power of heaven is activated. Rumble, in the ruins in front of you. A huge creature suddenly appeared. Even the field of vision is blocked a lot. After devouring the zombie corpses in the city center. The wound on Qiongqi Shen's body that was cut by the metal giant sword has also healed a lot. But there is still a deep scar. After seeing so much food here. The god of Qiongqi made a happy sound. Eat, eat. Chen Mo grinned. There's no one here, Qiongqi, just have a great time. Qiongqi, you go too. How much you eat is yours. The god of Qiongqi screamed after receiving the master's order. Zombies within a few miles radius were immediately startled by the sound. The overwhelming crowd is coming towards this mountain of meat. The god of Qiongqi stretched out his fat, white and tender hands and swept them over. Cars one after another were crushed directly in its palm, and with one hand it grabbed 20 or 30 zombies that were constantly struggling and roaring. It opened its huge mouth and swallowed one by one. It makes an attractive chewing sound of click, click, click. Qiongqi on the side was also unwilling to be outdone and roared. It turned into a meteor and jumped directly into the zombies, biting and killing them continuously. Roar. The scene was extremely bloody, with countless blood splattering, and 2 terrifying monsters slaughtering wantonly. In the early days of the apocalypse, whether they are aliens or gods, they are many times stronger than ordinary zombies. Not to mention, there is also a rank 4 apocalyptic god, the god of Qiongqi, here. Complete crushing. Rumble. The ground beneath my feet was shaking, and the god of Qiongqi was sitting on the ground. 2 bloated hands grabbed a large piece of zombies. After eating, eat the left hand and the right hand. And the deep and huge wound on the spine. Surprisingly, tiny little granules miraculously grew and wriggled. Chen Mo's face was indifferent, and he held the onikiri and slashed open the abdomen of a rank 2 zombie. Tear. The onikiri in his hand created layers of ripples, and a drop of black liquid surged out of it. Shoot directly towards the zombie's head. PFF'd. It penetrated a bloody hole with ease. The zombie struggled feebly for a moment, then fell to the ground motionless. The reason for the zombies on the highway is that no one has ever cleaned them up. One batch after another came, seemingly endless. If not for the help of onikiri and Qiongqi, even rank 3 superpowers would probably be exhausted under the massive zombies. Chen Mo glanced at another large group of zombies coming in the distance. If this continues, zombies within several miles will come over. Chen Mo's eyes flickered for a while. After the master's ability here breaks through to rank 3, he sets off. Use the power of heaven. Chen Mo gave orders to the god of Qiongqi. The god of Qiongqi made a deafening sound. Quote. Then, rumble, accompanied by a shocking loud noise and dust mist. Lying on the ground suddenly. After eating more than 1,000 zombies, the wounds on Qiongqi god's body have recovered as before. Lying lazily on the ground, motionless as if dead. At this highway intersection, it is like a mount tie that separates the 2 places and cannot be shaken. No matter how much the zombie on the other side tore, scratched, and bit, it couldn't even break through its thick-skinned defense. Chen Mo looked at the large pile of corpses in front of him. And the thick blood that filled the high-speed ruins. He spoke. Qiongqi, it's time to get to work. These crystal nuclei should be enough for you to control your abilities and advance to rank 3. Now, within the 6th military region of North China City. This place is strictly disciplined, and from the outside to the inside, there are fully armed soldiers standing upright and patrolling. There are high walls outside, like copper walls and iron walls, indestructible. In the conference room, Zheng Haifeng lowered his head in awe, not daring to look at the middle-aged man in front of him. Opposite him, a middle-aged man who was neatly dressed and wearing glasses looked somewhat similar to Lin Shu, with a calm expression. The man in front of me came all the way from the safest place. The middle-aged man held a file and lowered his eyes. Can't see the emotions clearly. The old man already knows about this. Tell me, that day, with so many people in your group, couldn't you defeat an ordinary person? What the hell happened? I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.